with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Discussing that heat in the street, hey, we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what
All
you need.
alone.
Vitamin G. Hey. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Hey, final round. I already know how I'm coming, man. Yeah. Try run the town. Tell no duck when they hear that sound. How they gon' come up now? Heavy as the head that'll wear that crown. I'm going pound for pound. And if it's by smoke, then we toke all of that. from an ounce to a pound. Take it, they biting this now, cause my drip right out the seat. How could they be? Give me a couple of rounds, cause I'm a beast when I'm on vitamin G. You see they start crumbling now, mad struck start mumbling now. Get the gist, I ain't reaching for cloud. Plot twist, I'm the one with the keys. Clock glitz, know they little half freeze. Different continents, I be torn. We living life, making yours look boring. See, we win at the end, it's a spoiler warning. Cause I keep heating up, I might blow the whole planet. They calling me toxic like global warming. But they keep tuning in once again and again. I'm the one at the top, just to form a warning. Truly, I'm De Niro when it come to movies. Get De Niro, entertain the groupies. Habanero if you come pursue me. But I hop on the game, too busy rolled up whenever my girl getting moody. Link up with the gang, we all go insane. Catching them bills on the duty. I'm in Stixie, I'm locked in. Bought a box, I was like 10. Back then, used to box, nowadays they ain't throwing hands. Mama said we got more advanced. One thing about me, I adapt, bought a Glock fin. Keep me safe from the block in. The game kept me off the block. Ain't got flex about looting my Ruger. I can shit on you with my computer. See, my graphics card costs more than your damn job can afford to pay you. And my monitor, big as hell, detail, so I can see when I spray you. To reload the clip and record the clip is go all say to that SSD. Know a whole lot of trill game heads like me wanna see tuned into that VGP.
Take over the west and the east, and we got just what you need on vitamin G.
What's good, everybody? How y'all doing today? Welcome. And we here. It's your boy Dante Crisis with another dose of your weekly VGP Vitamin G. How you all doing today? And with me today is the Guardians of the Gaming Galaxy. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we have the Gamora of the group because he cuts deep. Mr. Zero, how are you today, sir?
Take Gamora, she's alright. And spoiler, she's dead, but that's fine. But I am doing well, man. Just sort of trying to stay focused on the games I'm supposed to be playing, as opposed to I keep getting distracted. I have finished Slay the Spire.
Nice.
So that's a plus. Well, technically. I got one more character to beat it with. But I beat it with the main three. I have not picked up Horizon yet because I've been stuck playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which is a great time. Jubei will be here, but it's showing me how much I've forgotten about that game.
No. It's showing you how much that game's rules have become more and more goddamn fucking restrictive as the years went on. That's just the facts.
It's insane because I spent a lot of time playing Duel Links, but Duel Links is a very smaller version.
Mm-hmm.
So there just are a lot of summons that I don't do that just don't work in Duel Links that exist in this game. So it's really taking me back. Oh, I got to figure out how to manage this full field again. So I am just kind of all over the place with it, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's free to play. It doesn't take a lot of effort. You will probably get bodied online a lot because that's just how it works with these types of games. Otherwise, I think that's it. I am waiting for 3 more days or 4 more days for Arceus to drop. I'm very excited about that. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, fucking oh god, next month Elden Ring drops.
Oh, and I beat Borderlands. I finally beat that.
Finally. Did you find... Okay, I got a question, alright? Because everybody likes to say Borderlands 1 is a fun time, but Borderlands 2 is better. I do agree with that sentiment, but did you complete the main game and the DLC or just the main game?
Just the main game.
Right. I got a question for you. about halfway through the game, did you just start getting really, really, and I mean absolutely just fucking sick of the back and forth? Like, the drops just weren't key. The guns you were getting were just not adequate at all. Like, there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of go and grab this, go grab that, and there was just, the gameplay loop itself got really goddamn fucking boring and tiresome very goddamn quickly. Did you feel that?
I don't remember Borderlands 2, but what I will say about 3 is that, particularly from the gun thing, what would happen is I would just sort of find one exotic that would just melt all the way through.
I was just more talking about Borderlands 1. Like, what did you feel that on your playthrough with Borderlands 1? That the gameplay just got old very fucking quick.
I can't remember. 1 did not stick out to me. I didn't
Thank you.
Really interested in Borderlands till the second one.
Thank you.
And then 3 is fine, although I don't like the main villains of 3.
Alright, goddammit. Omar, stop moving around or mute your mic. Boom! Thank you. Anyway, moving on. One of these days, I will get the respect a host is meant to get. I'm not FC. You can't treat me with disrespect. Alright, and moving on to the Groot of the Groots of the group. Kofi, how are you today? Because all this man does is talk about anime translation. So he's literally as one note as Groot.
Happy translation, everybody.
There we go.
Yeah, things have been really interesting. I'm really sorry I've been missing some podcasts, and I have no presence on Twitter for the longest. Despite all of that, playing games is exactly what I've been doubling down on. And I am so excited because I have been surfing the auction sites on basically Japanese eBay to get all of the import games for PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 or PlayStation Vita that I missed when I was studying all the way back in 2013. And I just got a package today. I think I got 8 games.
Nice.
One of them is this game I'm going to explode talking to you about. This game was developed by Level 5 10 years ago. It's called Danbor Senki. Okay, I don't want to tell you what the little translation is because I think that'll make you laugh, but it's basically like Gundam Wars.
I could use a laugh. No, give me the translation. I could use a goddamn laugh after the day.
Okay.
After the 3 days I've had, I could use the fucking laugh. So go ahead.
Okay, so Danbor means cardboard, and Senki is like wars. So technically, the game is called Cardboard Wars W.
Okay, that's not silly. That's not silly for the simple reason. Did you see the shit people went through for the fucking Labo? We have seen a real life cardboard war.
This is true. So this game has all of the love that you're used to Level 5 having. And the fact that this was, it's like a remaster of the 3DS game, with trophy support, with, has motion capture for characters. This is a full-scale on RPG that was never localized, fully voice-acted, and you basically can customize your mini Gundam, or I'm calling it a Gundam because it's like a little mobile suit. And there's a whole story and everything. So I literally just got the package. I'm so excited. In addition to that, I just got Level 5's new game that came out on the same day as SMT5 last November, Megaton Musashi, which is also their new anime. So, which also is a very good game. The demo is out on the Japanese PlayStation Store. So I've been playing that. That data transfers to the full game, which I finally got for a good sale. But there's a ton of other games I got. I got Utawareru Mono Zan 2, which is a PlayStation 5 action Musou game with all the characters from the visual novel Utawareru Mono, which is like a 3-part trilogy. I think it's on everything now. I think it's on Steam, it's on PlayStation, I'm pretty sure it's on Switch. But they finally have been making an action game, and this is a sequel to that. It's really cool. All the DLC from the first action game transfers to the second game, so all the costumes you earn and stuff like that transfers. So that's really cool. I'll talk about some of these other games later, but just so excited. Finished Tales of Arise, amazing game. Love the second opening. Love Do Halim, he's amazing. And I'm also, shout out to you, Omar, revisiting Horizon Zero Dawn because I never played Frozen Wilds, and I will be finishing Frozen Wilds before the sequel comes out. So I'm really loving that game right now. Loving it.
You're in a treat with the Frozen Wild. it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn, I think the what do you call it? The theme of the world or like the setting, it just works for me. Like I could take down robot dinosaurs with a bow and arrow all day long.
Hey, you almost said, hey, Gofi, you sounded like your favourite man in the whole wide world, Todd Howard, then. It just works.
It just works. Oh gosh, I can't use that anymore.
Nope. Yeah,
Yeah.
It just works. Alright, so it sounds like you've been having a lot of goddamn fun. And I'm glad. I just need you back on Twitter, so whenever I poke the anime or Persona community, I have you as backup. God damn it, man. I need you. I'll get more into that in a sec. Alright, next. The Rocket Raccoon, because he's a little weaseling motherfucker. Omar, what have you been up to, my guy?
I felt that I'm gonna be Rocket, which suits me. Yeah. So two things. I might have COVID, or simply the flu.
Yes, finally, I'm not the only motherfucker sick. I don't have the coof, but I think I either have a cold or a flu. Either way, my body has been fighting it for the last 3 fucking days.
So I'm gonna get tested. I tested myself, self-tested, and 2 times came negative. But I'm still gonna test myself in a center after tomorrow. Hopefully, it's still negative, so I can be done with this whole situation. Other than that, I started a small game. I finished Frozen Wild, and I had a blast. And I'm ready for Forbidden West. And I started a small game called Guardian of the Galaxy.
Not a small game.
And wow. Gameplay perspective, like zero now, until you get stuck in the jelly. You know what I'm talking about, zero. Until that, the game was nice, but that's when it's opened up. At chapter 4, and what makes it interesting is the back and forth banter between the Guardians. Like, that's some of the best writing I have ever experienced in video game. It genuinely feels like people have been through wars and have a history with each other. They don't feel forced. They don't feel exaggerated. They feel genuine. Like, I felt like I'm watching a comic in animated form when I'm looking at them, how they interact with each other. And the only thing that I dislike is Groot. Keep saying, I'm Groot, I'm Groot, I'm Groot. He doesn't have any, like, he clearly has personality when he wants to show it, but just being limited to I'm Groot gets old very, very, very fast. Other than that, the gunplay is great. The story is interesting and it's funny. And Square Enix truly shit the bed with their first showcase of this game. Cause if your mind is still stuck at when they very first showcased it, like, you really need to move past that, cause this game is amazing. And I'm still at chapter 4.
Right, fair enough. So it sounds like you've been having fun with Guardians of the Galaxy. I need to probably pick that up. Alright, and then we have the Star-Lord, because he has such a goddamn high opinion of himself, of the VGP. Pharaoh, what have you been up to, my guy?
I've been playing some Spider-Man. And finished Final Fantasy VII again. Playing Spider-Man. On the Xbox side, a little bit of Avengers, a little bit of and the weekly Madden stream. Other than that, that's been about it.
Right,
Did you play that game? What is it? Is it Everybody Dies, Everybody Ends of the World? Jubei was playing it. He said it. I don't remember the name of it. It just came to Game Pass.
Yeah, it's a roguelike.
Yeah.
Death's Door.
No,
No,
not that one.
Death's
Everybody
Door.
died.
I played a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, that was not really worth talking about.
I'm gonna
It was
pick up
pretty-
Death's Door for sure.
What's it called?
Everybody dies or something like
Everybody
that.
goes to heaven. Oh.
Sounds like my typical playthrough of most RPGs.
It looks like.
Actually, you know what? Everybody dies. Everybody dies. I love him. But with the way Dragon Slayer explained his first playthrough of Fire Emblem Three Houses, that pretty much exemplifies his first playthrough. Everybody dies. Because the dumb son of a bitch is his first Fire Emblem game and he played it on Classic.
Oof.
Everybody dies. Oh.
I'll figure out the name of it eventually. Oh, Nobody Saves the World. That's what it's called.
Nobody says.
It looks like Enter the Gungeon.
Oh.
But
Is
like
that
oddly
right?
enough, it seems as though instead of, because I was talking to a friend of mine playing it, instead of the guns, it's characters who you unlock, and each character does something different.
That's cool.
Also, just a quick shout out to anybody who wants to buy this game, as you should.
Oh, fuck.
Windjammers 2 is essentially a sort of like pseudo tennis, pseudo pong game. I played it years ago on an emulator. Probably put in perspective.
Isn't this a proper sequel? Or are you talking
This is
about
a proper sequel from a game
Yeah.
that came out in 1994.
crazy?
Someone actually bought that up in my ill-fated Minecraft stream today, which got taken down because my internet decided to just absolutely die.
Yeah, I absolutely love that game. It's straight 1v1. It like probably one of the earliest games to help like fuel my competitive spirit. But I would play that game with friends for hours.
Alright, so it sounds like everybody's been having fun. I mean, that was supposed to be Farrell's intro, but you know, I mean, everybody's got to get in on that shit.
Aside from what happened to you with the internet, did something happen to you?
No, okay, yeah, so I'll get to that in my intro. Farrell, you done, my man?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, right, so I'll get to my intro. So, okay, my week, okay, I'm gonna just go break down the last 3 days for me because it's severely fucking annoying. So, Wednesday, I finish I play Contra Super C, the second NES Contra game. We spend 2 hours trying to figure out how I play co-op. Because it does, for some reason, Contra Anniversary Collection does not have online multiplayer. It only has local co-op. And this is true across the board from what I've heard. So, me and Nurgle spent 2 hours trying to figure it out. And then we finally found out what we had to do. We had to enter big picture mode. And then, while I have 2 controllers plugged in, my PC, then I need to launch it in big picture mode. Then I need to start the remote play with him, move him to player 2 so he can control player 2. And we spent less time playing that game and completing it than we did setting it up. We spent less than 2 hours to complete it and 2 hours trying to set it up. That was my Saturday.
Is so lazy. Why didn't they add it to this?
No. I could ask myself the entire question because, to be fair, here's the thing: the figurative gun for me this week has been going like this ever so fucking slowly with some of the shit I've been doing. So Tuesday,
You know what this remind me with? This remind me with Hellblade on the PC, where how you need to change your language, like.
Oh no, this is absolutely completely different. This is setting up 2 players in a 2-player game that for some goddamn reason in the re-release with the Anniversary Collection just does not have online co-op. You have to set it through remote player on console and PC. So anyway, then a little bit of sunshine on Saturday. I start playing a classic PS2 game, an underrated gem I consider called Seek and Destroy. And Seek and Destroy is a... Think World of Tanks before World of Tanks was even a goddamn fucking concept in the programmer's head. And cartoony, for some reason, everybody's a goddamn tank. It's a hell of a lot of fun. You can literally have a buzzsaw on your tank with a six rack missile system on the tank as well, while firing a fucking laser from your tank. It's amazing. I love Seek and Destroy.
Yeah, I've never seen this before.
You should look. Hold on. I will bring up footage on.
Yeah, I just pulled up a video.
Yes, Seek and Destroy is amazing, and I will have this playing because everything else I'm going to talk about, everybody knows. Give me a sec. Okay, I've got some gameplay for everybody to watch. It's fun as hell. I honestly recommend, if you like your classic games, give this a go. Look it up on emulator. This is gonna fucking be. This is a really cool, awesome game, in my opinion. But yes, as you can see, big giant. You can have a tank and a big giant rocket launcher and shit. It's amazing. There's a variety of fucking tanks. Like I think there's over 50 tanks in the game. There might be less. I might be over exaggerating, but there's a fuckload of tanks, and they are actually representations of real fucking tanks in the real world.
Yeah, it's got like they actually communicate on the battlefield. It kind of reminds me of like a front mission kind of thing, you know, they're talking to each other.
Oh no, this isn't multiplayer. This is single player. Who you're seeing talking is actually the AI.
Yeah, no, I mean like there's like cutscenes. You know what I mean? Like they were like talking like Sergeant, you know.
Yes.
Like about the mission.
And there's that 16 rack rocket launcher, which is fucking amazing because the best thing is the rockets are guided, so if you're a certain distance away, they will home on to an enemy automatically.
Yeah, I had never heard of this game.
You should give it a fucking try. It's a ton of fun. Lots of customizations as well. So anyway, yes, I'm playing this. A lot of fun. Then Sunday rolls around. I buy a key for. I'm finishing up GTA 4. I know I'm on the last mission. GTA 4, honestly, I feel like its reputation is undeserved these days. I think GTA 4 is a fantastic game, and in some aspects, I would actually say it's better than 5. So I finished that. My plan is, I want to play the medium next. I'm gonna get it. I bought a key for it. It's been over 24 goddamn fucking hours later. I still don't have the damn key. So, I'm going to give it another 24 hours. If I don't get my fucking key, I'm going to demand a fucking refund. Because I'm really pissed about that. Because because that's my backup. And all of my other backups don't work out because I was going to play Control. I couldn't move it over to my fucking hard drive for some reason, so I had to uninstall it and then move it over to my hard drive. Then Command & Conquer Red Alert didn't work because I couldn't move it over to my hard drive, so I had to uninstall that and re-download it. So then I finally get to my other backup, which is Time Crisis on the arcade version. So I do a full playthrough of that. That was a lot of fun. It was fun playing Time Crisis. Then I'm racking my brain over, what the fuck do I play next? Again, all my other backups are gone. Scrolling through my playlist and I see, I've not played Devil May Cry 4, so fuck it. Funny enough, I was able to transfer Devil May Cry 4 over to my fucking hard drive. And yet, the other two didn't work. I have no idea what was going on, but I started playing Devil May Cry 4, sorry. That was a lot of fun. All while this is happening, my M.2 failed. It just stopped being registered to the to my PC. So I unscrewed that fucker, cleaned the contact points on the motherboard, slotted that fucker back in, screwed it in a little bit tighter, and it's worked fine then. All while on Monday, today, I was supposed to have blood taken for a blood test. Because I'm not a healthy dancer. I'm not. But I like to keep my personal shit hidden most of the times. I ended up missing my appointment because someone misheard the fucking time for the appointment. So knowing that I'm gonna have a needle about yay fucking long jammed into my fucking arm and blood that I prefer to keep in my body is gonna be taken out of it is weighing on my mind. I then get to the doctor's, find out that I'm late for my appointment, have to reschedule it for Thursday, and my zen is officially broken. My happy place has been sufficiently burned down to the fucking ground. Then, today, while I'm trying to play Minecraft an hour into the fucking stream, my internet just dies. Like, I'm talking, my provider says that there's an outage everywhere.
Do you have competitors in your area, or is it Monopoly?
Competitors. It is competitors. We got Virgin Media and Sky. They're legitimately like the all. Oh, I think we've also got BT. BT's also another competitor in this area. But yeah,
Sounds like the government's trying to silence Dante.
You know the ironic thing, the fucking ironic thing. Before the outage happened, one of those fucking Russian bots showed up in my fucking stream, and I was about to literally turn around and say, you know what? I think I've cracked out what's with those bots. I know what those bots are. They're trying to crash the internet so they can easily invade Ukraine. They're trying to crash the internet with bots so they can easily invade the Ukraine. Before I could even get to that, my internet died. So it just strengthens my fucking conspiracy theory that the Russians are trying to bot the fucking internet to death. So yes, that's the last 3 days of my life, as well as playing Shin Megami Tensei 5, which Kofi, we need to talk about. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly get into this right now. Kingdom Hearts has been fun. I beat Kirk under-leveled apparently because I beat him at level 48, which from everything I found out is really fucking under-leveled to fight Kirk, one of the super bosses. Took me an hour and a fucking half, but I did it. Chaos Mod has been fucking insane for GTA San Andreas, but Shin Megami Tensei 5. There'll be light spoilers here, but I'll avoid names. I'll avoid things. There was a death. In fact, there was just two major deaths in the game. And Kobe, I mentioned this to you before that when you compare it to other Shin Megami Tensei games, specifically Persona 5, which is a Shin Megami Tensei game, despite being a spin-off, it still is. In Persona 5, or in Shin Megami Tensei, I've turned around and said, I don't care about these characters because I've had no chance to really get to know them or interact with them, like in something like Persona 5. Where you got to know each and every single character. Granted, it was in your power if you wanted to do that for the confidants, but you still got to know each of them, like Ryuji, An, Makoto, Futaba. You got to know all of these characters, right? Even the villains, you got to know the villains, like Goro Akechi, Mr. Pancakes himself, and Shido. Like, you got to know these characters, their motivations, their fears, everything like that. Shin Megami Tensei 5 just killed off 2 characters. And I felt nothing, because it was not earned. It just was not earned. It's really early in the goddamn game, and I barely knew these characters. Honestly, I go as far as to say I didn't even fucking know these characters. And, because I think I saw one of the characters who died in, like, 2 scenes. That's it. 2 scenes. And they try and treat it like it's an emotional thing. I'm like, no, you haven't earned that. You've not earned that. Like, I likened it to, like, say in Persona 5, say halfway through the game, suddenly An or one of the Phantom Thieves is just killed off, like halfway through the game, or near the end of the game. That would have felt earned. Like, say, you know, before, you know, after the interrogation, or during the escape from Sai Nijima's casino, say one of the Phantom Thieves sacrifices themselves or dies in the escape. That would have felt earned because we would have gotten to know them. Like, we know them, we care about them. That would have been earned. The emotional response would have been there. Shin Megami Tensei 5, it ain't there. It really isn't.
So was the character in 4? I'm just curious.
No, none of these characters are in the previous games.
So, man, we could have a whole podcast about this because
we need
kind of like Final Fantasy.
Yes, because each Persona and Shin Megami
Yes, it is
Tensei
like
game
comments,
is a new cast each time.
Okay.
Like, I don't even know. I don't even know if I should say anything because I could go on forever, but I don't. I think there's something else you want to say.
Yeah, no, I'm finished. Like I said, Shin Megami Tensei 5 from a gameplay standpoint feels really good at times and really goddamn and really goddamn annoying at other times because I don't know how I know how the ambush system is meant to work, but it feels like most of the time when I hit an enemy, they get first try. And apparently it's not based off of your agility stat, so I don't know how the fuck it's meant to work. But there was one instance where I got wiped because they ended up getting first turn, and the first fucking enemy hit a fucking debilitate on everybody. And then suddenly everybody was hitting everybody's weakness, and I'm like, this was and the worst part is
extra turns.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck am I meant to do against this? Like, it goes from fine to unbalanced. Like, I beat 2 bosses on my first try, and I'm like, that's cool. Then suddenly some fucking pissant takes me out. And I'm like, how the fuck? How is this balanced? And I'm funny enough, I'm still under level to beat optional fucking side bosses or mini bosses in the first fucking area because they're over level fucking 40 in the first fucking area. And I'm like, dude, one of the first ones I fought was level 24, and then suddenly all the rest of them are like 20 levels fucking higher than the first dude. And it's like, how?
So I have a couple of things to say. Obviously, I haven't played the game yet, but 2 things that sound like red flags to me based on what you've shared is, oh shit, I'm sorry, I just had a break. Yeah, the crazy level difference with random enemies, and what was the second thing? Okay,
no, it's not random enemies. Okay, I should clarify the high level jump. In the first area, you get a side mission to kill 4 gods. The first god I beat because he was level 24. I think I was level 18 at the time, right? But I pretty much come to the goddamn conclusion. I've come to the conclusion that if you are at least, I would say if you're 4 levels below a mini boss or a boss, you're okay. If you are any levels below that, you're fucked. Because they will destroy you. Because I beat King Frost. I recently faced King Frost. Okay? I have pretty high vitality at this point. Alright? We're the same fucking level. He hits me once, he takes off 1/3 of my fucking health. And I'm talking a regular fucking melee attack. Half my damn health. 1/3 of my fucking health. And I'm like, what is leveling in this game? Because the dude had a retarded amount of health as well.
Okay, so I'm only making this comparison to me finishing SMT3 and what I don't like about what you've told me, which of course I will play, and I own the game. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
If random, or not random bosses, but if there is some seemingly alarming jump in a level that a boss that you encounter, that would make me upset. And the fact that you mentioned that there's these people who are the main character's friends, quote unquote, at school,
they're not friends. He literally met them the day shit went south.
Interesting. Okay, so I went 40 hours into SMT3, really not enjoying it, but only completing the game, going through those 40 hours because I wanted to make sure I tried something different. And Reggie, our good friend, made a statement that I think is the best way to summarize how you come from a traditional RPG space, something that Final Fantasy might have done, or something like Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. He said, zoom out, which was a reference. You know how he is. It's like a reference to, for SMT games, individual story beats and story moments don't really matter. Your takeaway is what is the nuance of the overarching immersion that you're getting from this game. And it took me so long in SMT3 to get that. And then eventually there was this one overarching event, like so nuanced, so abstract, but I really, really loved it. And it was combined with a puzzle in a specific dungeon that I said, you know what? I see what this game is doing now. They're trying to say, you have all of these options available to you. You can kind of craft your skills in your own way. Not saying that Persona 5 doesn't do that, but like Dante, the thing I took away that I like so much more about SMT than Persona is some of these bosses I beat, I will remember forever.
You won't remember these.
Forever.
You will not. You will not remember. Okay, there has been like one boss. There's been one boss so far. I'm talking bosses and mini bosses. There's only been one boss I fought so far, and he's memorable. But that's because he was basically built up. Not built up, but you see him once, and then you fight him again like fucking like 8 hours fucking later. But because they've been talking about him, and like he was just annoying to get to. Like, he's the only boss I remember. And the fact that he was really goddamn annoying because he ate one of my fucking personas, or sorry, one of my demons, and regained all of his goddamn fucking health. None of these bosses are rememberable. I'm gonna spoil one.
Really?
The first boss you fight is the first true boss you fight is the Hydra. Right? Is a Hydra. He's built up, shit like that. Okay, cool. You fight him, okay, tough fight, but he's not memorable in any fucking way, in my opinion. He's not. Like this is the problem. Like I fought a bunch of mini bosses, but all of them, a lot of the mini bosses so far have just been regular demons. They've not been anything unique. Like the Hydra, the only ones that are unique is the main bosses, which so far has been the Hydra and the second boss, which is the only memorable one so far. The rest of them are just regular demons that you can get yourself beefed up and made mini bosses.
Without touching spoiler territory, are there any sort of bosses that are like trials? This is kind of a SMT3 spoiler, but I'm curious.
I don't know about that. Like I said, I'm about 30 hours in. I don't know about that, but everything I've played so far has given me no indication that it's going to get better.
Wow. Okay.
Because, like I said,
I'll leave it at that.
In the first area, it's an optional side thing to do. So I'm gonna preempt everybody fucking saying, "Oh, but it's optional." But the thing is, if you're going to play a game like this and you're in a mindset like mine, you're a goddamn completionist. You want to fucking do everything, right?
And I hear you on that. Like, really quick, Tales of Arise did the same thing. I don't know, Omar, you played Tales of Arise, right? Right in the first area, they drop a level 40. But you haven't played it?
No, I've yet to play Tales of Arise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Tales of Arise did that too.
Okay.
With a drop high-level boss. Like
this is where it gets. This is where it gets worse. It'd be one thing if it was a high-level boss. Like I said, there's 4 of these mini bosses. They're the 4 gods. Okay. The first one I fought, like I said, was probably around level 24, and I was level 18, I believe. Okay. Again, he beat me like I think twice, but I finally got him, and I'm like, okay, cool. Every other one of those gods, all other 3 of those gods, are over level 40. So it fucking teases
What level are you?
Right now, I think I'm like leveled. Oh, at the time I was level 18.
Oh, that's unfair then.
I was level.
Because I understand what Kofi was saying. I played the demo, and yes, there are high level enemies roaming around.
There's high level enemies roaming around this area, but like I said, this side mission, the first one you want to encounter. In fact, you could encounter any of them at once. Like this again, you need to preference. I stumbled across the first one of these gods by accident, and he was level 24. When I went to try and get the other ones, I guarantee you, if I didn't have any smoke bombs, I wouldn't have been able to escape, and they would have wiped me to a game over. Because all of them. At level 18, they're at level like 43. And it's like, you tease me. You fucking set the precedent that they're going to be around level 20 odd. Then suddenly they're level 40. The others are like over level 40. Get fucked. Because with escape being based off of agility, like Persona 5, unless you have a smoke bomb, your ass ain't getting away and they're wiping you.
And especially if you lose your demons as well, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing. Again, it goes with the whole, and this is a trope of RPGs. This isn't a Shin Megami Tensei issue. This is an RPG trope that I fucking hate. I absolutely fucking hate it. I hate when the main character gets wiped, the game's over. I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
It's like you are the mothership sending out the signal to everybody else. As soon as the mothership goes out, everybody fucking drops dead. It's
I know that. Yeah,
and here's another thing, Kofi. Let me spoil this little thing for you because this is annoying. So, demons in this game. I don't know about the other Shin Megami Tensei games. Again, Persona was my only fucking introduction to this. Demons can't use items.
See, I'm used to that.
Okay, here's the thing. I think what makes it more annoying for me is, okay, no, they can't use items. Okay, I start setting up my playstyle to deal with not having used items. But then you unlock an ability to buy later that allows them to use items. And it's like,
oh, wait, what? Wait,
why was this not? Why was not this default? Why was this not default? Why must you make it a? Why is this not default?
I mean,
I
it's
don't
the
even think
same.
that's
I can comment on that. It's kind of the same how Baton Pass is used in Persona 5. It's like Baton Pass is super handy.
Nope. It's okay. No, Baton Pass is handy, but no, it is different. It is different. In fact, it's crucially different because you can get through Persona 5 very goddamn comfortably without having to use Baton Pass. That's the goddamn truth. Okay, you really can. But there are moments in this game where you wish that say you're on the last, say you're fighting this boss and you realize this isn't going to go my way, but your last move is on a demon and you just want to escape. You can't escape. You can't use items like a smoke bomb to get the fuck out of there. So you're fucked. You're dead.
Yeah.
But then you get the ability to buy it with something called glory, where these demons can now use items, and it's like, oh great, now this demon that I have out because he's a great healer, and I want a healer.
Yeah.
But for example, say I'm facing an enemy that is not resistant, blocks light attacks. Okay, because this actually nearly happened to me. I have I have an angel with me. I can't remember which one, but he's a great healer, but he can't attack the enemy.
Okay.
Without the ability to use items, he can only heal. So he's pretty much using up a slot. So it's like, why have I got you out? But with items, he can use shards and gems, which allow him to use items to deal damage to this guy.
That's pretty useful.
But again, you get this ability in the second area, and it's like, why was this not default? Because this seems pretty... If you're going to have it, then make it default. If you're not going to have it, then don't have it, and people will adapt to being able to do it without it. They'll think on the fly like you start to.
True. Like 3, I'm pretty sure that's not a skill in 3. I have to think really hard. I'm pretty sure I never had an item on any character, other than the main.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, right, listen, I've rambled too much. Jubei is here, finally, fucking fashionably late as always. Jubei, what have you been up to?
Hey, yo, everybody. Sorry.
He's on the tin can, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that that cup with the string is secured tightly.
I am. I'm on daddy duty right now. I got something to take care of. But
I know.
Yeah. I've literally just been playing Yu-Gi-Oh like all week. I haven't touched Halo. I haven't touched anything else. Doesn't matter what platform I'm on. I've been playing that shit on PC. I've been playing it on Switch. The only thing I haven't played it on is PlayStation because I just haven't played it on PlayStation. But I have it linked, so. But
I was about to say, it's cross save?
It's cross save, cross progression. Once you link your Konami ID to the platforms, whatever you do on another platform is going to show up. You literally could just hop between them with no issues.
See, right there is the reason why I've not fucking played it. Right there is the reason I've not played it. Konami.
I mean, I get it. It is Konami, but I mean,
this system is free to play or what?
Yeah, it's free to play.
It is free to play.
Free to play, yeah.
So
if you play the tutorial, you do get like somebody stupid is gonna spend their gems trying to get like staples and shit, like Monster Reborn, etc. But if you just play the solos and the tutorials, they give you those for free.
Yeah, it seems pretty.
You'll just unlock them. It's super generous with the gems.
Alright, fair enough. So,
Then you
That's because you're an early adopter. As more people get in it,
I mean, I already know it's gonna turn south at some point. I already know this, but
It's
You already
going
know.
but jumping in initially, like I was expecting to hit a wall. You know, I mean, I went from bronze to platinum in like 2 days. So I dropped out of platinum because I lost a couple of games, but I got like 4 games to get back into platinum, and then I'll see if I can get to plat 1 and then stop playing rank for a while until the season's over.
okay, so basically what Jube's saying is at some point we're going to need an intervention. Gotcha.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
Yeah.
addicting. It's super addicting.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, well, finally we're going to move on to the first topic, which is going to take up about another hour of our time. So Microsoft has designs and plans, because we don't know how it's going to go, because the deal isn't finalized until next year. I don't want to hear shit from Jube or Pharaoh, because those are the
You
facts
know
as we
how it's
stand
gonna
right
go
now.
because we've seen how all the other acquisitions have gone.
Fuck off! Seriously, Microsoft has bought out Activision Blizzard for the stone cold amount of 70 goddamn billion, which, you know, I think at the time for me was a shock. But then reports came out that Activision reportedly approached Microsoft for a buyout, and then you look at all the lawsuits heading Microsoft's way, which, you know, now falls on unless they're dealt with before the buyout, then fall on Microsoft to deal with, and given all of the bad press, it makes sense that they ended up buying them out, which netted them, given the fact that they bought Activision Blizzard King, nets them Treyarch, Raven Studios, High Moon, Beanox, Infinity Ward, Demonware, Toys for Bob. You know, basically everybody who was fucking slaving on Activision. So here's the deets as it goes. So here are some of the games, because I actually have a list of them. Give me a moment. Here are the games, IPs that now Microsoft will own if and when the buy-through goes through. Apache Air Assault, Blood Drive, Blackthorn, my phone going off, Blur, Cannibal Series, Caesar, Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Commander Keen, apparently, because the last game in the series was actually Activision published, Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, which to me is a big one, DJ Hero, Empire Earth, Gabriel Knight, Geometry Wars, Guitar Hero, and Band Hero. Will you just let me fucking finish? I'm literally about to go through all of them, Omar. Where was I? Guitar Hero, including Band Hero, Gun, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, which, Jesus Christ, I haven't heard that name in a while, Hexen, Interstate 76, King's Quest, which it'd be interesting to see King's Quest come back, actually, because that's been dead for a long time, Lorabo Mysteries, Little Computer People, The Lost Viking, Mixed Messages, MTX Motor Tracks, Overwatch, Phantasmagoria. God, let's see how many people remember that. Pitfall, Police Quest, Prototype, Rock and Roll Racing, Quest for Glory, River Raid, Singularity, Skylanders, which was a huge fucking huge moneymaker at one point for Activision Blizzard, Soldier of Fortune, Space Quest, Spyro the Dragon. There you go, Omar. StarCraft, which is a big one. Makes me wonder if we're going to get a StarCraft 3 at some point now. Street Hoops, Tenchu, the first 3 games only, apparently. Time Shift, the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series, which I think a lot of people forget. Even the True Crime games, which a lot of people forget, because they own the IP for that. True Crime Streets of LA and New York City. Sleeping Dogs doesn't count because that was originally going to be True Crime Hong Kong before the studio left and made Sleeping Dogs. That's why that changed name. Wizards and Warriors, World of Warcraft, which is another big one, Reckless, Zenji, and Zork. That is all of the games now that Activision will potentially hold in 12 months' time. So, first of all, Kofi, I'd like your opinion first, being predominantly a PlayStation guy, and clearly one of the biggest fans of Activision Blizzard here. What are your initial thoughts? What were your initial reactions when you saw this news? Fucking hell, did someone turn off the live support again?
Yeah.
Alright,
yeah.
Zero, you first then.
Wait, who was that? Was that me? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Kofi!
Oh crap! I'm sorry, guys.
Fuck, we thought someone had finally pulled the plug.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so I have my children kind of yelling at me on and off.
I know.
But you were basically talking about all the things that they could potentially bring back, right?
In 12, potentially own and bring back in 12 months. Okay. I wanted your initial reaction when you heard about the buyout.
Okay, my initial reaction was I almost crashed my car. And I had no idea what was going on. I was actually driving my son to daycare. Actually, this one, my older one, so school. And I just was trying to wrap my head around it. And I don't curse in front of my kids, almost curse in front of my child. And I was just like, my goodness, what is going? You know, the thing is, I haven't been on Twitter, but I know Twitter was a storm. I know that accounts are blowing up.
Yeah.
And then I started to think about all the negative things, like the things I don't like are people writing articles like, well, in order to counter that, Sony, they gotta go buy Take-Two. I mean, how are they gonna keep up? We gotta go buy something. Buy.
So basically, Pharaoh, when he's saying, if Sony's gotta go and buy this as retaliation and shit like that, because that's all he's been fucking saying. Like earlier when he was saying
that he's going to buy at all.
I don't know if Pharaoh's like. Well, I haven't. We haven't even talked about it much. But I don't know if Pharaoh's like actually hype on it. Pharaoh's very cold and calculating. He doesn't really like get excited about Sony getting. Yeah, but I just see some people like in their articles. They're saying like, I don't know. They're just super over the top. Like Sony needs to like buy this now, and maybe there are some purchases or some IPs that Sony could certainly revive, and it would help them out this generation. Xbox is obviously looking beyond this generation, the next 20 years, 30 years. And it's a negative to me because sometimes I feel like Sony listens to like really loud, influential people, and I don't personally agree with them for my take. Like, for example, a lot of fans want a Game Pass type of system for PlayStation where they have day and date games coming out in this service. Maybe that will work for Sony at some point. But to me, the paradigm of how expensive individual games are for PlayStation right now, I just see the quality of the games going down. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. I know that this is an ongoing debate that, they can sustain it and just bill everybody $120 a year or whatever, the Game Pass rate is. But I personally just don't agree with that. I don't. And I feel like then Jim Ryan says, we're coming out with a Game Pass competitor, which technically is so open, right? That he could mean something that makes it more lucrative for not for Game Pass, for PlayStation gamers, not necessarily trying to get people out of the Game Pass ecosystem into his ecosystem. He just thinks that, to be honest, to me, that's like just a competitor, something that seems lucrative that will be its own thing, whether it's backwards compatibility, Spartacus, all that stuff. Okay. Once I've like mulled over all that, and by the way, in terms of the console war thing, big up to them. They are very serious about long-term investment in franchises. Okay. After all the negative that I felt, I did see some positives because I don't like Activision's games at all. Like there's almost no. Okay, I own Overwatch. World of Warcraft is fine, but I just don't care about so many of these franchises, and I see many of them going south. I'll bring up for Overwatch 2. Originally, Overwatch 2 was supposed to be an evolution of story with all of these great characters that they had, right? Where a new PvE expansion or new game was supposed to be in development. The lead creator on this left, and we found out kind of through the cracks what he originally wanted. But of course, Game Pass got, I'm sorry, Overwatch got delayed, that person left. So all these bad things are happening, the bad press. The annualization of Call of Duties makes me sick. I thought Call of Duty was going to die 10 years ago. So obviously eating crow on that.
Yeah, you are. You're eating severe crow on that. I mean, then again, with the last 2 fucking releases, I mean... especially with Vanguard, we'll get into Vanguard in the debate the debate section later. But like, Call of Duty wasn't looking so goddamn hot. Like Modern Warfare was the shot in the arm for them, but then they just fucking fumbled it with. And I like Cold War Zombies. Like I'll admit that, and I really like the story. In fact, I would say
one thing I like.
But I also say that the campaign for Cold War was actually pretty goddamn good.
Okay,
but like they just kept fucking stumbling, and then. Fucking Sledgehammer. Why is Sledgehammer still allowed to make Call of Duty games? They're shit.
And like, if we're speaking about like the rotation of devs for Call of Duty, I feel like I've heard a lot of negative about how Raven has been treated. To my understanding, their Q&A for these games, very critical step in like, how are you going to have 3 different devs rotate one IP? And your Q&A team is like desecrated. That just doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be quality.
Their fucking QA team is unionized now because of all the bullshit recently.
At this point, yeah, good for them at this point. So, like, I guess I want to say, all in all, Xbox. Now nothing's official. Obviously, it'll be probably June 2023 before we know all this is finalized.
The final
but
details.
If Xbox can bring a change to the culture over time, it's going to take time. It's going to take 10 years.
They've already turned around and said. The culture, yeah, but it's already been confirmed. A lot of higher management, Activision is fucking gone. What if this deal goes full through? Most of upper management at Activision Blizzard is fucking gone. The CEO is gone, which honestly I think was universally fucking cheered. Even if you didn't like the fact that Microsoft was buying out Activision and the implications that had. I think even people like that were cheering that fucking shit stain on the underwear of life is gone.
Yes. So, like, yeah, building on that, the fact that something like, I've heard rumors that maybe Call of Duty won't be annualized anymore. Who knows if that'll ever happen? But that's fantastic to me, because I think a year off for that franchise would make a winter software sales season look like, oh no, the gaming industry's changing because Call of Duty wasn't released and now like all the numbers are different and should you buy a console? But it gives those devs a chance to maybe hunker down and release something truly great, in my personal opinion. Things like that is what I think we need in the industry. So maybe Xbox could really save this whole conglomerate of devs long term. Yeah, that's the positive I'm taking away.
The worst part is, I fully agree with you, and this was a step that Activision themselves should have taken, because you could turn around and say, we'll release one every 2 years, because they literally have fucking Warzone to hold everybody over.
Yeah,
for that year, they have Warzone that they could have, like, say, Raven Studios. Raven, you are now fully in charge of Warzone, which they already were. We want you to keep updating it through that year. We want you solely on this. And, like, it will be constantly updated and stuff. And when the next Call of Duty comes out, integrate stuff from the new Call of Duty into it. Because then you could have you could have Infinity Ward making Gear 1 game. Then 2 years later, Infinity Ward makes another. And then 3 years later, someone else makes one, because I don't want Sledgehammer ever fucking making another fucking Call of Duty game. No, all of their fucking Call of Duty games have damn near fucking failed. All of them. Because they fucking suck. And not even Raven liked working with them. That's why they got the boot off of the Cold War game and Treyarch was bought in. Because Raven
Do you want to know?
Because then you've got extra years that these developers could... You've literally got another year on top of that. Because it was supposed to be a year system where Infinity Ward... This was how it was meant to be. Infinity Ward brings out a Call of Duty. Treyarch brings out a Call of Duty. Fucking Sledge shit brings out a Call of Duty. So there was supposed to be a 3-year rotation system. Now, if they do it that way, it could be a 4-year system for each of them.
I would like something transcendental. This sounds really dramatic, but I feel like the system of first-person shooters has been really great. Like, I think of something like Apex Legends. But what's the next level for a great first-person shooter? Can we have some collaboration between two of these devs that makes something truly memorable, like Halo 2, Halo 3 type memorable?
That will actually be something for the debate, actually.
Okay.
That's all I had. Do you want to know how bad, and I mean how bad, the CEO of Activision was? He wanted to buy Kotaku and other what's called news company just so he can kill the information that will be spread out. Like, he is bad motherfucker, and he is also the one that approached apparently Microsoft with the buyout. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, apparently Microsoft wasn't even the only one. They were approaching other suitors to buy them out. Because, like I said, with everything looming over them, like that wasn't a cloud over their head. That was a fucking mushroom cloud that was looming over them. That's what was over Activision at the time. All right, fuck it. Pharaoh, what was your initial thoughts on the news?
Can't really say I was shocked by it. I mean, I was shocked at how much they were willing to spend.
Yeah, $70 billion.
Yeah, $70 billion. But I mean, I've been saying all along, I think Xbox is trying to get to about 40 studios. This puts them around 32. So I mean, I think the move makes sense for them. I think Call of Duty fits very well into that Game Pass model. So I mean, I just think it fits. I think it fits their long-term goals. And that's pretty much my initial reaction. Like, yeah, it was a big move. It was shocking. It had a shock factor because nobody saw it coming. But at the same time, I kind of think it fits with the overall goal of where they're heading. In the next 5 years.
All right, fair enough. Omar, what was your initial thoughts on the news of the buyout?
That was a big one. When I start find out the amount of IPs that they now own, they're like, wow. And then my question started to become something like, I am of the belief now Phil Spencer hold the golden goose, and he could be able to put Game Pass now on PlayStation by putting Call of Duty on Game Pass and say, if you want Call of Duty, you need to have Game Pass. And Sony might genuinely cape for that. And he could possibly do that with other IPs with Nintendo. Like, for example, you have Pyro, you have Crash. You want Crash, you want Pyro, put on Game Pass. Or else, he have so many possibilities now. And I've seen people saying that they're not gonna put Call of Duty on Game Pass. I truly believe they're gonna do so. It's only a matter of when the deal, a matter of when, not if. Other than that,
I mean,
go ahead, Pharaoh.
I was gonna say if Halo's there, then Call of Duty's gonna be there. Like, if their biggest franchise is there, Call of Duty's gonna be a Game Pass.
Yes. So other than that, it's I'm curious if Microsoft gonna revive a few IPs. Like, for example, a Paradigm would be nice. Even a new Crash would be nice. I'm curious how they're gonna go with their IPs. And other than that, I'm also curious which IPs are gonna keep exclusive, which IPs are gonna go to PlayStation.
All gonna be exclusive.
Anyway, Zero, what are your thoughts on this? What were your initial reaction?
Oh man, to wake up to $70 billion being spent is insane from a gaming perspective. Like, when the last time they did it, if the rumor mill was already out, so it was like, oh yeah, they'll probably pick up Bethesda. How much are they going to pay it for? Cool, but to just sort of just like it feels like they just rolled over and was like, yeah, I'll do it, and just hit a button and was like, we're good here. Thanks for coming, thanks for playing, guys, but like, don't ever forget we are one of the most wealthiest companies on the planet. And what we want to buy is what we want to buy.
I think
they even overpaid for it, huh?
No, they underpaid.
I'll actually look into the numbers
Because
I want to check
before the allegations, the company was worth, the stock price was at $100.
Second.
So they agreed to a stock price. They agreed to a stock price of $95.
See, because the annual revenue of, I think in 2020 for Activision Blizzard was 8 billion, 8.1 billion. So again, just something to point out. Like, it's clear that now Microsoft is injecting their own money into like the Xbox division. Now I'm talking predominantly. I'm talking like the 8 billion, the 8 billion they spent on
Bethesda.
Cinema. Yeah, it actually falls within their gaming revenue, their gaming revenue of the Xbox division, because I believe their gaming revenue is around 11.6 billion. It was their gaming revenue as of 2020, I believe. So that falls in. But now they've spent 70 billion on Activision. It's clear that this is a Microsoft move, not just a move from the wallet of the Xbox division. Like, it's now Microsoft being hands-on inside this space.
Yeah, which is way back what me and Pharaoh were sort of talking about when Microsoft proper decides to like pay this attention, things are going to be very different. And it's Microsoft, the computer giant, not just Xbox. And this is why I understand that it's very possible that this deal could not go through with everything that deals with antitrust. But if you think that Microsoft has not dealt with antitrust issues and gotten past them before, you have not been paying attention. You can watch the deposition of Bill Gates, and there are two famous videos I always like to think about. There's a deposition of Bill Gates, and then there's a deposition of Lil Wayne years ago. They look almost exactly identical in how these two men are answering the questions. Both of these dudes know exactly how the game is played and know what to do and what not to do. And when Microsoft proper is getting involved, for better or for worse, I'm not saying this is necessarily a good thing. I'm just saying, do not be surprised if they find some way to skirt the system. Right. I have absolutely zero doubt in my mind that they knew these new laws were in the pipeline.
Right, so looking at macro trends, Activision Blizzard's net worth from 2006 to 2021, by the looks of this, and I'll bring it up on screen, they actually overpaid for Activision, because as of the 10th, as of the 10th of, give me a sec, I'm trying to align this properly so it shows the 10th of the 1st. So this was obviously before the purchase. I'm fucking getting that. There we go. 10th of the 1st, 2022. Their estimated worth was 15.87 B. So I'm assuming that means billions. So the company was worth $50.87 billion.
As of when?
The 10th of the 1st, 2020. 2022, sorry.
Was that prior to the allegations?
That was after allegations.
That's what I'm saying. Prior to the allegations,
no, but you said But you said they underpaid, but they overpaid. They overpaid by $20 billion.
They made Microsoft pay them based on what their value is, what they expect their value to be once these allegations are behind them.
When did the allegations come out?
Because the state's been investigating them for quite some time.
Yes, it's more than a year old, but their stock price was over $100. It dropped. It dropped to 60. It dropped to 60 something at the time, before the time the deal took place. They agreed to a stock price of $95.
If you can find out when that is, I can. Like I say, if you can look at that, I can go back to literally a whole year. Like,
I mean, I read the Bloomberg article. They did it based on what the value is. I read a couple articles on it. They did it based on what the value was prior to these allegations took place.
Well, then they did all underpay because when was this? The 12th of the 2nd of the 12th, 2021. They were worth 80 billion. And then it goes down and up in peaks and valleys, and it's only within the last let me see, from the 26th of July last year all the way until recently, they've been in a free fall.
Yeah, and they probably also might have to pay whatever it is to handle any of the issues that Activision and Blizzard have been a part of.
Well, that's if that doesn't get sorted out before the purchase.
Those are going to be settled before the purchase is done.
Possibly, but like your forecaster should probably be including that in your price tag if you're doing that. Like, how much is this going to cost us? Because we're acquiring these people, and they've been in the news fairly recently. What does Bobby K's golden parachute look like? How much is that going to cost us? What is the board's
$375 million?
Bitch, you know what? Give him something golden, but don't make it a parachute. But make it a fucking anchor and throw him in the fucking ocean.
Yeah. So like there's a part of me that's worried. I'm a little like Kofi on it. I see the good parts of it. Like, I really do hope that they can fix the Activision Blizzard situation. That they have better quality control, that people are taken care of, perhaps their workers can unionize. I really would hope that, because currently what they were doing wasn't working. So somebody
else. Does Microsoft have a union?
I don't know.
I would think that union would be dissolved under Microsoft. I don't think
outside of like the Raven Software guys, they don't have a one proper. My thought would hopefully under Microsoft they can get one.
I think they're setting a very bad precedent with allowing someone like Bobby Kick to get 300 mil as a way out situation.
That's
like, it's like business. He's the CEO.
How many stocks does he own?
But they're not starting anything. This is pretty much the most common thing ever with big business acquisitions.
It's not just that. You also need to think about like how is he getting that money because of the buyout? Because of that's how much in stock he owned in Microsoft, Activision Blizzard.
Yeah,
it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable.
They legally can't take his stocks from him.
No,
so they're hit.
They either buy him out or they take every other person's shares but him, and he somehow sticks around.
Yeah, and so I'd be willing to bet one day he will just be gone. Obviously, they can't say it now because like the ink is not dry.
Oh no, they've already turned around and said no. It's already pretty much set that if and when this deal goes through at the end of next year, he's gone. He will not be a part of Activision anymore.
Yeah, it won't, and maybe they'll make a big deal about it. Who knows? But hopefully, it sets the ship right on Activision and Blizzard, and StarCraft 3 can come back out. I can feel better about buying their games again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some old I don't think any of the old classics are really coming back. I keep seeing. Maybe I just need to like check my bias about certain things. I keep seeing people bring up Spyro. No, like Spyro was never better than Crash. Spyro was always just okay. No one cares about Spyro.
That's okay. That's a lie.
I care about Spyro.
I'm just saying how I feel.
Okay.
Don't nobody care about Spyro. In the same way, like don't nobody care about factions for The Last of Us and that nonsense. Nobody cared. The last one was 2018, which was a remastered of the original.
Hold on. If we're gonna throw that fucking shit, if we're gonna throw that shit there, okay, let's actually break down the internals of what the fuck's going on in Activision and why we haven't got a new Spyro game. Let's not fucking forget The only game before for Crash Bandicoot was that Insane Trilogy, which led to Crash 4. And unfortunately, after that Spyro trilogy, you got to remember, after Toys for Bob had finished with Crash 4, they were immediately shackled to work on Call of Duty.
No, I'm not checking for Spyro. The only reason why Spyro even came up is, for me, precisely why you said, because it wasn't, oh my god, Spyro devs got pulled off. It was just, oh my god, they got pulled off to make Call of Duty again. It's because people don't care about Call of Duty. They got pulled off to make something else. I'm not checking for Spyro. I'm staying by it. I'll die on this hill.
I will fucking shoot you dead on that fucking
Spyro is still big though, because they need Xbox needs kids games for their Game Pass library.
And again,
they're desperately lacking in children games.
The reason why we don't get anything but Call of Duty from the Activision side of everything is because literally, and I kid you not, literally all of their studios were working on Call of Duty. Every single one of them was shackled to Call of Duty.
It will always be the biggest to me. It always has been.
And that will be your biggest mistake ever.
Set the world on blaze. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Until they do, I'm not checking for Spyro. I'm not, and I never will. I never have, and I never will. So, okay, Spyro, cool. Crash, I'm barely there, but I get Crash. Originally, it is one of the best-selling PlayStation games ever, or series. So fine, you get to go and be there. But there are a bunch of old properties maybe they'll bring back. Others that will just stay dead. Heretic is probably never coming back, so I don't have to worry about that. Even though I would love it, Heretic would be fantastic if it came back.
Well, they already said they're bringing back a bunch of franchises. They even had a couple dead franchises like StarCraft on their banner when they announced the.
I wouldn't argue that StarCraft is dead though. Just fairly dormant for a while, but
StarCraft is still big in the PC scene. There's still StarCraft tournaments.
Yeah, it's still pretty big there. It's just it always takes a long ass time for those games to come out between them. But that's the good side. Hopefully, we get some new games out here. People get better working conditions, and bad actors get kicked out of the pool. On the other side, I keep thinking. I look back to every time I see Disney doing something, I'm just like, I don't know, man. Consolidation always feels weird, and they're free to do so, but it makes this weird arms race where it stops being about finding the best and just sort of acquiring everything, even if they're not the best. It's just let's just acquire it all, and I don't know, I hope that Microsoft wouldn't, and so far it doesn't seem that they have, but when I look at a Disney property, everything sort of bleeds together now.
Oh no, it already bleeds together. Why do you reckon Jubei and Pharaoh can't shut the fuck up about Game Pass? It's already bled together.
I mean, and Game Pass is fine. I got no beef. I've never had beef with Game Pass. It's just awkward for me that Microsoft could realistically buy so much more.
They can't.
And that just feels weird to me.
Can.
But legally they can't.
It's up to the law to tell them that.
There's nothing legally to stop them. They're nowhere near.
Hold on. I'll get to that with this actual
There's certainly a legal wall they can run up on. They haven't hit it yet, at least as far as we've seen.
Well, I've got an actual quote. I've actually got quotes from an actual fucking lawyer. Someone who specifies in law. That I'm gonna get to after I've got everybody's initial reactions.
I mean, Hoglaw, who specializes in mergers and acquisitions, that's what he does as a profession, and he does a lot of the gaming stuff.
I don't understand why we're acting as if people have not skirted the law before, but that's fine.
Yeah, he's done several videos on what Microsoft's capability is beyond this.
It's fine. Again, the two sides of my Twitter is always Microsoft can't do this, but Microsoft is also part of the Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
World. So which one are they, bro? Like, they can't simultaneously, on one hand, rule the world, but also be jammed up by legal proceedings.
Well, they already
Like,
rule the
can't
world.
be
That's why everything runs off fucking Windows 10.
We don't see.
But
we don't
everything
see
doesn't, right? Because
companies-
that's not a monopoly.
Yeah, we don't see companies who are third place in market share be denied an acquisition.
Okay, right. You know what?
It doesn't happen.
I'm going to. That's something else I'm going to bring up as well, because I'd love to know where this market share comes from. Because I've got my own
yearly revenue.
I've got my own thing here. Because I got my own thing here when it comes to this. Then, because if we're talking yearly revenue, that is not indicative of market percentage that they own. That's just indicative of revenue they own.
They don't own enough market share.
No.
Even if you go by studio, there's no metric that you would have that says Microsoft owns the market or a majority of it.
We'll see.
So like I said, I hope that they're able to fix some things. Consolidation feels a little weird to me. So it is a cautious optimism. Because one of the things I've always worried about Microsoft is, like, because their checkbook is sort of always open, or can always be open, sometimes it feels like that limits the freedom, or it gives too much freedom. And to me, freedom is basically the enemy of creativity. So sometimes when you're a small studio who's just struggling to try to make it work, and you put your best 1000% effort out there, and you knock it out of the park, it pays off dividends. Sometimes, and we've seen this with Sony, if you don't make our numbers and sort of follow the rules of the other people in our company who don't make the numbers, then we're just done with you. And I certainly wouldn't want that to happen.
Well, I mean, the one optimism we can have when it comes to Xbox is if we look at most of their studio purchases over the past 5 years, almost all of them are working on a new IP.
This is true.
Or have released a new IP already.
Still waiting for perfect news on Perfect Dark.
It'll come out the same time as Metro.
Alright, well, now I finally can get to Jubed's initial thoughts on the purchase, but I don't think they're going to... I think they might be a bit more excited than Pharaoh's, but pretty much along the same line. Go on, Pharaoh. Go on, Jubed. What were your initial thoughts?
To be honest, I just kind of felt like I was shocked. I had to check like 4 or 5 sources to make sure like that wasn't like a prank, because it's like the first thing I see on Twitter is people in spaces crying about it. Like, to be honest, Activision needed some help, and I'd rather it go to Microsoft than somebody like Google or Facebook, because they have enough legal and bullshit going on. I'm just more so trying to figure out how they're going to incorporate these studios, and if they're going to make a commitment to bringing back like those older IPs and things like that. Because I mean, it doesn't really make much sense to buy something like that and then not put a team like Toys for Bob making a Banjo-Kazooie game, because obviously they show they can make platformers.
I do it. Yeah, I mean that sounds like a good fucking use of Toys for Bob.
Yeah, instead of them being support staff for Call of Duty.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to see any more support staff for Call of Duty.
That is the benefit.
There could be 1 or 2 Call of Duty studios that you can rotate between 2, or even just 1 if you're not going to make it a perennial thing. If it's not yearly, just make it 1 and call it good.
I'd say get rid of
We're going to see a
Sledgehammer.
bunch of new games come out of this.
I want to see. I mean, Treyarch came out with Zombie. I want to see Treyarch come out with something else. I want to see Treyarch come out with something that they want to do. That's not necessarily Call of Duty related.
No, I agree.
Like, it's exciting in that sense, because you get to see, hopefully, these studios stretch. We might see a StarCraft 3. We might get StarCraft Ghosts, if that
That'll never happen. That'll never happen because we're not lucky.
WoW might actually be good again. I mean, it's a lot to be hopeful for. As far as people being upset about it, I mean, you had one company that pretty much locked a whole other company out of an entire region and genre with Sony, with all the JRPGs and things like that. Like, why is it okay in that case, but it's not okay for for another company to do what you asked them to do, which is compete and give a damn about it. Like now it's a problem.
See, there's so much I could say about that.
I mean, it's okay to money hat exclusives, but it's not okay to buy the publishers. So you don't have the money.
Here's my thought. Like you turn around and say that though, but I question was.
No, but what? I'm gonna say this: Sony was not playing fair. They wanted to get Xbox out of the game, and their moves in the PS4 showed that. Like, come on, like literally, like we're gonna cut you guys off from Japanese devs. Pretty much, you're never gonna get a Persona game there. It's just never gonna happen.
Is that not on Microsoft too, or rather their fan base that don't buy this?
That's what I was actually about to bring up.
It's not about buying it, but when you know.
No, it's after No, hold on. Look at Capcom. Microsoft PlayStation doesn't have any connection with Capcom like that, and Capcom came out and said we're not gonna put Ace Attorney on Xbox because Xbox fanbase doesn't buy the game. That's not an opinion. That's a factual statement.
Okay, it's a factual thing, but let me get my point out. So, anyways, okay, you can say they don't buy the games, but I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, it's a niche genre anyway. You act like Japanese games are like uber popular and like the highest selling things. No, that goes to the West.
But the thing is, when you lock away mainline, like when you lock away the big games, then that audience goes to that platform.
I disagree with that because like you bought up Persona let's use them. They weren't just exclusive to PlayStation. They were also on Nintendo platforms. So how would
Which is another Japanese company? Fuck.
So then how was it locked away when they clearly go to other platforms? You said they were locked away, but they clearly weren't locked away. Don't matter if the Japanese.
They were locked away to Japanese companies. That's what it was.
That doesn't matter. You're saying they were locked away, but the problem is you said they were locked away by PlayStation. Sony locked them away. But they didn't because they came out on Nintendo. It doesn't matter if being the fact that they're a Japanese company is completely irrelevant. They went to another fucking studio.
Did Persona sell more on PlayStation or Nintendo?
Actually, it depends on which one you're asking. Because
the answer is PlayStation, the market leader. If you're going to look for Japanese games, chances are you're going to look at what two companies? Nintendo or PlayStation? PlayStation having the more rabid fan base, even though, the Wii sold a shit ton. PlayStation still generates more revenue.
Okay, so let me ask you.
We're not going to sit here and argue about this.
Let me ask you, why isn't
the de facto place to go get your Japanese games? Because it is.
But it's still the cold hard fact. I'm sorry. Don't muddy the water though, because the cold hard fact though is still they weren't locked away to just Sony.
Let me ask you this.
Hold on. Hearing that, yes or no? Because you like doing this to me, and we'll fucking do it to you. Yes or no? Were they locked away to just Sony? Yes or no? If they came out on Nintendo, were they... Yes or no? Yes or no? No, you do this to me, I'm doing it to fucking you. Yes or no? Were they locked away to Sony if they also came out on Nintendo?
Do you think Nintendo would intentionally withhold games from Xbox like that? No, they wouldn't.
Let me ask you this.
Hold on. I want Kofi's take on this, given the fact that he's more of the Japanese game guy. I want to know your opinion on that.
I just want to say this. Let me ask you by this. Why doesn't is Shin Megami Tensei 5 on PlayStation? Yes or no?
Doesn't matter.
Bullshit! No, don't try and pull that bullshit. Answer the man's question.
You asked me to go. Shut the fuck up and let me go. I'm not going to sit here and do this. So, if I can only play Street Fighter on PlayStation and PC, that is locking a fucking company out of fucking Japanese games. Thank you very fucking much. Don't say that. You're using a very specific shit with fucking Persona and shit. Like the game I cared about, Street Fighter, I had to go get a PlayStation to get that. I had no other fucking option.
Do you know why is that the case?
Street Fighter. That's it.
Do you know why is that the case? Do you know why is that the case? With
it doesn't matter if Sony
fucking funded it. I don't give a shit if they funded it.
That's a you issue then. That
Yes,
genuinely a you.
That game has been on
now,
more than one.
so now that same thing is a you issue for Call of Duty and everything else that Xbox is funding. That's why they're moving the way that they're moving.
But these same people that are complaining, oh, these games are gonna go exclusive. Y'all just fucking let Sony do that to a whole ass fucking game.
You saying that's a you problem is exactly why Xbox is buying all these publishers right now.
No, pero
Yes,
if not for
That is
PlayStation, this game would have never existed. Street
That's
Fighter
not
5
necessarily
or
true.
6 would have never seen the day of their life.
Now you're saying they're too broke to make a Street Fighter. That's what you're saying. Did Street Fighter also prepare them to make?
Okay, let me cut off. Let me cut off. I'm using host privilege. I'm cutting off. First of all, I just like to make my point clear. My point, the reason why I was going hard at you, Jubei, was pure because your argument, in my opinion, the foundation was crumbling as fuck. I've got no problem with the fact that if games come out exclusive to Xbox because they own the company, just your argument was just not on any kind of sound foundation. Now, as far as if they fund, if a game is funded because it's got no chance of coming out without getting funding, no, that is a different story because you are funding it. I mean, God, the argument, and this is going to zero side the pond. Like, you could throw that argument to Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 would never have happened. Bayonetta 2 would never have happened without Nintendo's funding, and that came out exclusive on the Switch. And like, it's the same thing that happened with Street Fighter. Like, that game would never have actually existed because at the time.
Same argument though, Xbox funds third-party games, and those third-party games make it to PlayStation. They fully fund games that go to PlayStation.
No, they're literally locking in.
No, they do. They do. There is no. They literally fully fund games and don't require them to be exclusive.
I'd like a name of those, actually, so I can look them up.
I'd also just jump back and say, at least for the Street Fighter 5 thing, we know very clearly the Bayonetta issue. Like, they've come out and said it. Like, we went to everyone, and no one would give us anything until Nintendo
that was
did.
true.
Do we know that to be true? I hear people saying it.
Hold on, let me look into it.
We know that Sony helped, but do we know that Capcom was like, "Hey, man, we'd like to make Street Fighter 5," and people were like, "Nah, we're good." Until Sony stepped in.
Go look at a game like Yakuza. A lot of companies, Microsoft and Nintendo, refused to put Yakuza on the platform. PlayStation is the only company that said, "Okay, go ahead. Create Yakuza and put it on our platform." Is that locking a game out of such system? It's like deals happen. Without deals, some games simply doesn't exist. And that's the thing with the Japanese market. Sadly, Xbox fan base doesn't care about it. Sadly, not all of it, but most of it doesn't.
How are you going to fund the game and then release it 15% fucking done? Because Street Fighter definitely wasn't done first. But apparently Sony made it possible for this game to be made. The shit wasn't fucking done until like 3 or 4 years after it came out.
Yeah, there's no arguing with that.
That's bullshit.
So I wanted to...
Yeah, Kofi, I want your take.
I was out... Well, I'll be dead honest. I came into the conversation super late. So I don't know if it's fair for me to like agree with anybody. I'll be dead honest though. I kind of agreeing with Pharaoh and Jubei based on what I've heard. But I don't know, like, I'm not sure what the disagreement is. I don't know. Like,
okay, so
basically we're saying that. Okay, well, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so from where I don't actually know where they started. Actually, all I know is that Jubei brought up the argument that Sony was like basically gatekeeping a lot of franchises, like the Persona series, like Shin Megami Tensei. At least this is why I jumped in. And that's like people bitching and complaining that these games are now going to be exclusive to Xbox because they bought them out, but didn't call Sony out for doing the same thing when it came to Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and stuff like that. Now, my problem with Jubei's argument with that was the fact that a lot of those games came out on other platforms. When he's saying that Sony was gatekeeping them to Sony consoles, my problem with that is the argument is fundamentally flawed because those series had games come out on other platforms as of recently, for example, Shin Megami Tensei 5 with the Switch. Like, so they weren't exactly gatekeeping everything, and Omar was using the example that Japanese studios didn't want to put games on the Xbox because there was just no market for them on it at the time. When clearly there is at least some form of a market now for it, with obviously with them releasing Yakuza and various other games.
No.
That's my take.
When the biggest franchises in a certain genre are kept off, then you kind of keep that user base off of that platform as well.
No, the Capcom example that I gave, that's very recent. That's literally a year old. That's not new.
Yeah, but we don't have any type of proof that Street Fighter V would not exist today without PlayStation.
That's what I was asking.
And there's nothing indicating that Capcom was in some sort of financial strength where they were incapable of producing a fighting game.
Also, I'd just like to point out a Shin Megami Tensei game did come out for the original Xbox as well. Shin Megami Tensei 9. That did come out for the original Xbox.
That game was a fumble. It was a fumble.
I would say it's much more likely that PlayStation approached Street Fighter about funding their game in turn for exclusivity over that Capcom was not able to develop and fund a Street Fighter game.
I will say that Capcom was having financial woes, but I couldn't say that definitively proves that they couldn't make a Street Fighter game specifically.
Yeah, because fighting games don't cost a ton of money to make. Like Resident Evil costs way more money to make than it does to make a fighting game.
And Street Fighter is such an established franchise.
Okay, hold on. No, I'm gonna slightly lean on that and say that's not entirely true because Resident Evil 3 costs a hell of a lot less than Resident Evil 2 to make.
Are you talking about the old one?
No,
or are you talking about like next gen, new assets?
Both. Because Resident Evil 3 Nemesis and the Resident Evil 3 remake cost way less than the previous one they made.
Did it cost less than Street Fighter?
Actually, I think Resident Evil 3 did, yes.
And again, no one have yet to answer my question or doubt my statement about Capcom literally saying your fanbase, Xbox fanbase, doesn't support this franchise, and so we are not simply gonna put it on Xbox.
I want that quote. Just
so you're saying that like in the Xbox 360 days, like you're saying like Blue Dragon.
This is literally recent. This is literally a year ago. I covered it. I even shared.
But you're saying Xbox gamers don't support a thing. I'm saying during the 360 era, when Xbox was doing well, before these type of deals started taking place that pulled those type of major franchises from Xbox. Are you saying that Japanese games did not get support on the Xbox? Because there was plenty of Japanese games on the Xbox back in the 360 era.
He's talking recently. He's saying recently, meaning Xbox.
Yeah, but when we switched generations, we started to see those type of deals take place that pulled pillar franchises away from Xbox.
Again, that's why I want Omar to send me this quote that he's referencing, so I can look at the time, and see if I can track down
here's the quote.
No, I want you to send it to me.
Yeah, I will send it. How can I send? I will send it in the here.
On Discord or okay.
Yeah. I send it in Discord. Dante.
Because I might be a little confused. Is the idea like there were Capcom games on Xbox?
Yeah,
Street Fighter used to be on Xbox. Yeah.
But it depends on the franchise, Zero. It's a game, if you know a company or a people doesn't fuck with such game, would you put the game on their platform?
Everybody plays fighting games. Like you're saying that Mortal Kombat doesn't get play on Xbox. You're saying Dragon Ball FighterZ doesn't get play on Xbox. Like the fighting genre gets supported on every platform.
I think he's talking.
We're not talking about.
He's
We're not
talking about
talking
more
about-
niche titles that will sell like over 500,000 copies on PlayStation, but only like a couple of thousand on Xbox. I think is what he's getting at. And
Which is
I
true.
just don't know what
Nintendo-
I just don't know what Capcom games he's talking about, because I know. The only one in my mind that I think would come close to that would probably be Monster Hunter, but last time I checked, Monster Hunter World did gangbusters.
Dante,
Yeah,
Yeah, Monster Hunter
Did you
World. I think he
see-
did well on Xbox too.
yeah, that's what
did
I'm.
you
That's
see
what I'm
the
saying.
links
No,
that
I
I
don't.
sent you?
No, you want? Wait, did you say it on Discord or Twitter?
No, I sent it on Twitter. You're
Oh,
the
for-
on DM. I don't use.
I guess
I
Ace
don't-
Attorney,
Yeah,
right?
give me a
Because
sec.
that's
Yeah. It's literally, they say it literally here. Xbox One is considered non-viable with 2019 remaster only selling around 1,000 copy worldwide on that platform. Mind you.
Okay, this is sketchy as fuck. I'm sorry. I need to find out I need to reverse image search this because I need to know where this is from, because like just looking at that's sketchy as fuck.
No, this was literally from what's called Capcom investment
Preview
software.
I'm seeing this. Yeah, I'm seeing this on a Reddit thing. Like I don't know how entirely I trust this. So these marketing projections may be outdated. Intended release window January 2021. Platform Switch, PlayStation 4, Steam. Details below. Price $40. Languages. Like what? What game would this be for? Tokyo. Bonus content, possible DLC. All 8 Reddit magazine episodes. No tutorial. Zeroth episode. 3 bonus costumes. The Great Revival stories. Only in America. Free predict. Like Ryuzuki. Hey, Kofi, you know more about Japanese games. What? Due to Conan Doyle estate issues. Wait, hold on.
you must be talking about Phoenix Wright. If
Yeah,
you're
this is
talking
definitely.
Yeah, this is about Phoenix Wright, and
However-
go
Go
ahead,
ahead, Kofi. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I mean, I really remember this kind of fleetingly now, but I do remember the game originally being scheduled for coming out on Xbox and them canceling it. I don't remember, I mean, Omar's actually going to remember this better than me. I don't remember if there was this official statement as to why, but we've seen this every once in a while where a game is scheduled to come out on Xbox and then it gets canceled. And, you know, like, for example, physical versions of Xbox games almost don't come out anymore. Like there's a new game by your favorite, one of your favorite dev studios, Reggie, Inti Creates. They've got like a new like Zero, what is it called? X something code. I don't remember what it is. There's a digital version coming out on Xbox, but only physical and on PlayStation and on Switch. And that's kind of what's happening now, I think, with Xbox being good enough with their online service being, you know, internationally available. But it used to just be that they just cancel it and it wouldn't be available anywhere. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm seeing some sort of progress, but
And I
there's
knew
still
it
a ways
wasn't
to go.
crazy. I'm almost positive Phoenix Wright was on Xbox.
Let me check.
Maybe you're right. That was it though?
The Ace Attorney trilogy? I think it did come down.
1 second.
I could be wrong.
I'm looking it up.
Or maybe I might be
Phoenix Wright,
confusing
it's,
with PC.
Yeah, it might
no,
be PC.
one did come out for Xbox One.
Okay.
There was one for Xbox One, because it's even stated under here. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney came out for Xbox One.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Let me find out. So
Good memory.
Xbox. Right. So which one came out? It was the Ace Attorney trilogy. Came out on Xbox.
Oh, not too long ago.
Yeah, so like maybe the original did. I know there's a bunch of them, so I don't know which one, but I feel like the trilogy, which is the newest one, definitely came out.
That did. No, that's the one I'm referring to. Yeah, the Ace Attorney trilogy did come out on Xbox 2 years ago.
Yeah, ain't bad at all. So it might be based on what they thought interaction was with that one, that they would cancel the sequel, because this new one that came out apparently was like a very big deal for a lot of people. Though I haven't played this game at all myself.
Yeah, that one I don't know. I think that's only on. Is that only on Switch? The Great.
No, it's on X. I mean, it's on Steam and PlayStation as well.
Like,
okay.
It seems like the biggest, with the exception of obviously Street Fighter 5, which seems to be a really fucked area. Like a majority of games
So
like
really quick,
come out, but even some niche ones from Capcom have come out, like the Strider remake. I know that came out on Xbox. The Resident Evil series obviously comes out on Xbox. God damn it, there's no subtlety with this.
Really quick, like I want to go back to what Jube had mentioned about.
Fucking hell! Mute yourself. Fuck.
Who's that? Oh.
That's Omar.
What Jube said about PlayStation trying to keep certain IPs in their ecosystem. To some degree, I do agree with that. I think of something like when Persona 5 was originally announced for PlayStation 3, and it was during a time where PlayStation was severely losing to Xbox. And often, I think there's a trend that I'm starting to notice, that when PlayStation has what they feel like is a losing market share, they typically double down on the exclusives. And it reminds me, so if I bring that back then, right, we've got all these games like Little Big Planet. They acquired oh my gosh, Media Molecule on their first game that came out. That's kind of rare for them. Then they end up getting Sucker Punch in 2011. All these studios that they started to get because they needed to be competitive in the way that 360 was at that time. Now, fast forward to now, right, when Bethesda, this is me putting my conspiracy theory hat on, maybe I'm completely wrong, call me out if I'm wrong. When they bought up Bethesda, forget about Activision Blizzard right now, I think PlayStation had to look internally and say, some of these things that we've paid for time exclusivity for, we might want to extend them. Okay. And maybe that wasn't the original choice that PlayStation had. Like, we want to keep Final Fantasy VII Remake on PlayStation indefinitely. Maybe that wasn't because it seemed like it was going to come out a year later on Xbox. But then when PlayStation sees Xbox making moves, they're like, look, you're about to get petty again. We need to win. So now, if you want PlayStation, you come into PlayStation. I mean, if you want Final Fantasy, you come into PlayStation. And there's trade-offs for that. This goes back to my other theory, that whenever we see a state of play, in my opinion, Square Enix takes up so much advertisement space of state of plays. To the point that we're all bored. But I think it's the trade-off that PlayStation has to make. So Square Enix is like, look, if you want Final Fantasy exclusive, not only will you have to pay us, but you're going to have to, like, put our games in your state of play. It's like all over it. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, like 15 minutes.
Yeah, because what I was going to say, like, if you think about it, if Xbox doesn't make that Bethesda purchase, like right now, Sony has Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo, and most likely Starfield all as exclusives to their platform.
Starfield was never going to be exclusive to just that.
They were trying to acquire exclusivity for that game. So
it was never going to happen.
Possible.
Would never have happened. Because even at the time, the reason why I believe that would never have happened is because even Sony would have needed to break bank to get that exclusivity, even timed exclusivity, for the simple reason, you gotta remember the time. Starfield came out shortly after. Honestly, Bethesda had like one of the worst times in their company's history, given all of what happened with Fallout 76 and all of the additional blowback that happened with that, with not only the lawsuits, but refunds and even recalls with the special edition helmets that had the mold growing inside of it.
With their financial position, it's impossible to say whether they would have or wouldn't. But Sony was definitely attempting to.
Oh, they could attempt to all they want, but in my mind, something as big as Starfield that even Todd Howard has said.
We don't know how big Starfield is yet, though.
I mean, I don't know. From everything you keep talking about, it's the second coming of Jesus fucking Christ. But no,
when have I ever on this show or in a DM talked about Starfield being the biggest game? Can anyone think of a time I've said that? Because I haven't.
I think it was during the reveal.
I'm interested in seeing what it's about. I'm interested in the game.
But hold on, Kofi.
I've never said anything about Starfield being this great, fantastic new game.
Hold on, Kofi. I want to ask something about when you mentioned about Sony being buying up all the exclusives and Persona 5 possibly being one of them. You use that as an example. I do disagree with that somewhat because we all agreed that the last 2-3 years of the PlayStation 3's life cycle, they pulled ahead. Like, didn't they? They pulled ahead because people were finally getting... they'd finally bought out cheaper versions of it. They'd gotten over the big fucking Fat Boy edition. And... like, people had... developers had started finally getting a grip on how to developed for the cell architecture, because we even saw that because you could also see it in the transition of multi-platform games, because multi-platform games were always the worst on PlayStation for the longest time, but then they started becoming, in some cases, arguably the better version. Hold on. Is Kofi even there?
I'm back.
Okay,
hey.
right. Let me explain. I'll ask you again. God damn it. So you use Persona 5 as an example of them locking down exclusives when they're in a bad position, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I think we've talked about this before and we've agreed. The last 2 to 3 years of the PlayStation 3's life cycle was some of its strongest, because it had finally pulled ahead. Developers were finally getting in touch with the cell architecture and how to develop with it. That's why some game, like we all know, early cross-platform games for the PlayStation were absolutely goddamn terrible. They were the worst versions, but then they started slowly becoming in many ways, the better versions of it. Right, so we're in agreement that facts. The last 2-3 years of the PlayStation 3's life cycle they weren't in trouble, right?
Right.
You can't use, in my opinion, if you're gonna staunchly agree with that, Persona 5 falls outside of that, because Persona 5's original release date was in 2016.
Well said. You're right. It came out in Japan in 2016. It didn't come out in the US until 2017.
And the Persona series has, I wouldn't say it's all come out. Let me get out the Shin Megami Tensei series again. That's always had a home on PlayStation, even before the Xbox even came out, like all the way back to the PlayStation 1 to my memory.
Yes, that is correct. Persona 1 and 2 did come out on PlayStation. So you're saying that Persona 5 shouldn't count because it didn't come out towards the end.
It came out towards the end when they were in like the financial green at the time. Yeah. I'm not arguing the point that I'm not arguing the fundamental point that you're right. They do seem to go on a bit of a shopping spree when they're in trouble. I'm just saying with Persona 5, it seems like one of those where it's more of a long-standing partnership.
Yeah.
Like what was with like the idea of where, like, back when Rare was still making games for the N6 for the SNES. They were making games on the NES, then the SNES, then the N64. Like, it was a long-standing relationship.
I think you're right that the long-standing relationship does make a lot of sense. For example, Persona 3 was only on PS2, and I don't think it's anywhere else right now, right? It's only on PlayStation Portable and PS2.
No,
it's never been.
Wait,
it's on Steam.
Hold on, give me a second.
I don't think Persona 3 is anywhere except for on PSP, Vita, and PS2. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. So that's also to your point. And then Persona 4 Golden, obviously it's on Steam. We know that. But when it was released on Vita, that was a big deal. Like, it's still one of the best-selling games on Vita. So it was a great tit for tat financially, for Atlas or whatever that small team is, and PlayStation, because they needed like at that time, Vita was the only place to get Persona 4. And of course, everybody loves Persona 4. It's the best game ever. I have a controversial opinion. I like Persona 4, but I don't love it. I mean, it's good, but I don't love it. So
Persona 4 was on the Xbox.
Hold on. Wait, let me check.
It was. Persona 4 was on the Xbox 360.
No, sir.
Persona 4, was it Arena?
No.
Yeah, you talking about Arena.
Incorrect.
The fighting game was.
Persona 4 was not on Xbox.
I want to up something to...
Persona 4 Arena was. Just Arena.
Yeah, Persona 4 Arena.
Oh yeah, Arena probably was. Yeah, let me double check that. And yes, it was. It was an arcade game. It was an arcade game, 360 and PS3. So again, there's clearly no gatekeeping for the series if they're willing to release something. Obviously, the Arena on multiple platforms.
I see what you're saying. Like Persona 5, if we're talking history, never wanted to go to a different platform at the time.
And Strikers, that came out on Switch and Steam.
Yeah, and this is to where I think Atlas started to change with the times, right? They started to see that the Switch is blowing up, right? And they don't make super intensive games. And they're like, well, and development costs goes up. So they're like, why not? Even though it didn't even sell that well on Switch. So you know where your base is. I think it's so well on Steam.
Oh,
I'm talking about Strikers.
Strikers.
Yes.
I want to add one thing. which is we talked about Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. Do we know if PlayStation funded this game as well or not?
No, they didn't. They were all in-house. They were bought They were bought timed exclusives.
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's not disclosed. It's not disclosed.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised if PlayStation funded these games as well.
Why would you make that assumption?
Because PlayStation has the habit of funding or taking risks with games. Like, look at the Yakuza franchise. PlayStation said, okay, go ahead, do so.
But that was no financial loss to them. It's not really a risk to them.
The biggest issue was that Sony was locking up these timed exclusive deals, and Xbox tried to do the same thing, but it didn't work because they didn't have enough of the market share for it to really have an impact. So they were paying a lot of money and not getting any return on investment. Like when they locked up Tomb Raider for a year, it did absolutely nothing for them. Nobody bought an Xbox to play Tomb Raider, or at least not enough people bought an Xbox to play Tomb Raider. And it didn't have.
But what
it didn't have the impact that it was having when Sony was doing these exact same timed exclusive deals.
You could also
so now here we are in 2021, and you see them just loading up on studios.
You could also turn around and make the argument that the existing fan base as well for the Xbox 360 didn't care about Tomb Raider either to buy it, even though they already owned an Xbox.
Well, Tomb Raider was an Xbox One game, and Xbox One had already kind of sunk itself with how it handled the whole E3 and everything else with the whole Kinect and everything.
By the way,
they had lost a severe amount of market share by that point in time.
By the way, I'm gonna say one final thing about our play. I said it was done through Jeff Ferro. Go ahead, say your thing, and I'll say my point.
No, I'm mumbling to myself.
Okay, so one last thing, and which is the entire argument that Sony is locking down games, preventing it from going to Xbox. I'm gonna kill that narrative in one simple game.
You can't.
The Manna franchise.
You can't kill the narrative of one game because you can point out specific games where it's taking place.
I'm gonna kill that narrative with one simple franchise. The Manna franchise. We've seen the Manna franchise going to Steam, going to Nintendo, and going to PlayStation. But
that's
never
one
to
particular
Xbox.
franchise.
Which franchise?
So, I mean, you can't say that for one franchise and then be like, well, if this happened for one franchise, they haven't done it for any other single franchise.
It's not one franchise though. Oninaki was announced on Nintendo Switch, and then it came to PlayStation and PC, but never to Xbox. Again, when you have a fan base, then you know they are not gonna support your product. You're just not gonna put your
Sony does not have the power to lock down every single game that comes out to their platform, but they can strategically select certain games that capture a large segment of the market. And then once they do that, then it doesn't incentivize it doesn't incentivize the smaller games to release on another platform that doesn't have a market for it.
Here's the thing.
Hold on.
Let me ask you. Hold on.
That's how you do it.
Let me explain
that's how it works.
Here's my problem.
If you acquire a large enough portion of the market, you de-incentivize the smaller players in the gaming industry from putting their game on. They're gonna put it where the established market already is. PlayStation established that market by locking up the kings of those genres.
My problem with that narrative. My problem with that narrative is, well, first of all, a lot of what we've been talking about are big JRPGs, but you and Jubei have both been arguing that JRPGs are not a big market. Like they're not selling millions and millions of copies.
No, because what they did was they went after niche markets. You lock up this niche market, this niche market, this niche market, and the next thing you know, that's how you get an extra 10 million gamers here, extra 10 million gamers there. They're not looking to get 30 million gamers with one buy, but if you go after niche markets, you're securing 5 to 10 million customers at a time.
But the only niche market I'm seeing that like all these examples that we've been seeing and saying all of these ones that you've been using as examples as well have been.
I agree with Pharaoh 100% on what he just said.
Predominantly RPGs.
We brought up Street Fighter. We brought up Final Fantasy.
Game. That's a JRPG. One fighting game, a JRPG. Yeah. Mana series, that's an RPG. Oninaki, JRPG. Persona, JRPG. Shin Megami Tensei, JRPG.
So let's say that's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, I like to. I guess to back you up, Pharaoh. I think that the JR, like you mentioned, Street Fighter. That's an example, but there are so many fighting games that are always going to be on a PlayStation ecosystem, and they might or might not skip out on Xbox. King of Fighters, or some of the Guilty Gear games. Some of the Guilty Gear games do go to Xbox, but it's like it's spotty enough to know that you're typically going to host a fighting event with a PlayStation. You're going to be getting all your JRPGs or niche games on a PlayStation. So let's say that's maybe 15 million user market. So that's, in theory, 30 combined. Can we think of another franchise that's typically great on I don't know. What about another niche market, the VR market, right? Xbox is not in it at all. Let's say that only 5 million units sold, but still that's a niche market that Pharaoh's describing.
But here's the problem. Here's the thing. I would agree, I would hand you the VR market thing if Microsoft had any kind of I don't even know why we're arguing about this at this point or at all actually, but. And I'm not saying because I think you're losing the argument or anything. I just don't know where all this fucking spiraled from. The VR market I would give you, but that's if Microsoft had shown any interest or even had any foothold in the VR market, but they don't. Like you can call it you can say that they're locking it down, but right now, as far as the console space, Sony is the only game in town, so where are all of the VR games going to go? They're going to go to the only player in town. So the VR market thing doesn't work. That argument, in my opinion, doesn't work as far as an argument. And as far as King of Fighters, the most recent King of Fighters came out on the Series SX. And I think what did Strive
14 was exclusive, 15 won't be.
No, 15. No, 15 won't be because 15 won't be because it's coming
14 out. Was not on Xbox.
When did 14 come out? In 2016.
Right. But the one before that was last gen, and that one was multi-plat. So it's spotty enough, is what I'm trying to say. What's another fighting game that you wouldn't get on Xbox?
Is Blaze Blue on there? I think Blaze Blue.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes Blaze Blue is on Xbox.
Blood.
That's mostly
Melty Blood.
I don't even think that's on Sony, is it?
You're right. Well, the newest one did, which is
Melty Blood is on PlayStation.
Yeah, the newest one. No, but Reggie.
Okay, yeah, that's.
There's another fighting game that only comes. Dang, I'm like.
Pretty sure them Gundam fighting games are on Xbox.
There you go. That's a good example. Yep, those Boost. What is it called? The one that we got, Jubei? Maxi Boost. Yeah, the Maxi Boost games only on PlayStation for sure.
Yeah,
not even on Switch.
You lock that stuff up, and they did a good job of locking up the shooter base too by locking up exclusive content with Call of Duty and Destiny when Destiny first came out.
Okay, no, the Destiny was shit anyway. Like that player base died out immediately, so that was no offense, that was not a needle mover. The Call of Duty thing,
So Destiny didn't sell well at all?
No, I'm not saying I didn't say they didn't sell well. I'm saying that it didn't.
So what if it sold well? It was a needle mover. I mean, even if the player base died, if it sold
it's
well,
not no. I'm sorry. If we're talking about needle moving, I'm sorry. But given how Destiny came out, and given how Destiny 2 is now, and given how the industry is, the predominant the parameter now, not set by me, set by the industry. The needle moving now is audience retention and how many microtransactions and shit we can pull. It isn't about the initial launch now. It's about keeping that audience in so they can buy all of the microtransactions and shit. That's the real needle mover for these companies.
I mean, to be fair, then Destiny's doing pretty well considering.
I was gonna say, I think
reselling us.
Destiny 2.
Right, so the first Destiny sold 10 million copies on the first day. It definitely moved the needle.
Like, I'm just talking 2. I'm just talking from.
No, and I'm agreeing with 2. No, I'll agree with 2. I'll agree with 2 because it kept an audience retention.
If you sell 10 million copies in a day, you move the needle.
Well, no, I will give it. It's Destiny.
The sales exceeded 325 million in the first 5 days.
It did. Destiny sold off speculation, and then what happened is very similar to kind of Genshin Impact. People hit the wall and realized, oh, there's really nothing else to do here, and we sort of went away. And I think,
and they all came back, and they all came back for 2 though. And 2,
but 2 was fine.
And I'm agreeing with 2. They came back for 2, and they were able, through just sheer fucking perseverance and will, to retain enough of an audience to start selling out all of like, how many expansions is there? 3 or 4 that they sold.
Is it 4, Reggie?
Oh gosh.
But that's my point. That's now the parameter now for these companies. Is not initial sales. It's how much money we can get afterwards. Why do you think despite
initial sales also factor into consoles sold? Like, people bought consoles for Destiny and that exclusive content that they thought was going to be good.
But there was really no exclusive content to Destiny in PlayStation.
But they advertised exclusive content.
Actually, yes,
what they had to.
There were exclusive guns that you could.
Yeah, there was exclusive content to the PlayStation, and that influenced sales. Like it had an impact, and the game sold well. I mean, it may have sucked, it may have lost its player base, but it sold well.
Hold on, I want to know if there's actually a metric to find out how many consoles were moved with Destiny, because I'd love to know. Because hold on, Destiny 2 console sales.
I want to ask Coffee. Coffee, are you here or
hey.
Are you? Okay. How was Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey perceived on sales-wise? Do you know?
Sales-wise, I'm not sure. But one thing I hang out in a ton of forums, and in every single one, those games are referenced as all-time classics. Maybe they didn't sell well enough to get Sakaguchi, more time to make more games, but there was a community that was ready to stay with Xbox and grow with Xbox with those types of games. But it's a lot of work, right? It takes dozens and dozens of different deals. So I think that was the burgeoning of a PlayStation-esque type of ecosystem growing. But if you don't do enough after Magna Carta 2. It's another one. I think you can only get that game on a 360. Like, it's not backwards compatible. It's not on PC. You might emulate it, of course, but you can't purchase it legitimately anywhere. Is another great example. But it's like the last exclusive, for that ecosystem, and then it kind of dried up. And you're probably right, Omar. The return on investment probably wasn't good enough. Or Pharaoh, you were mentioning this too. The market was too small for JRPG fans in the Xbox 360 ecosystem for them to say, what do we want to do? Contract 7 more JRPGs?
And
it didn't feel worth it to them.
If the market was better in this current era, would Phil have not done so and asked for the game to be fully exclusive or time exclusive, even Japanese game?
I think it could, so here's my philosophy. You gotta go with a JRPG that appeals to a more casual fan base. For example, we love the Tales of series. At least I do, or many of us do. Before Arise, the best-selling Tales of game was Symphonia. Symphonia came out almost 20 years ago, 2001. Okay, but it was a significant graphical step up at the time. And Arise has already outsold Symphonia. It's killing things.
And I'd like to...
Either of these ecosystems, PlayStation or Xbox, makes an exclusive AAA JRPG, it's going to do $1 million in sales, which isn't a lot, right? Okay, it's not 50 million. But it completely... I don't know. I just feel like there's some sort of stickiness about JRPGs being in an ecosystem that's exclusive, in my opinion. Go ahead, Dante.
No, I agree with that, but here's the thing as well. I mean, again, sorry to hark back to Persona 5, but it's just something that didn't sell consoles, but it's the highest selling Persona game ever.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. There was no stink about Persona or anything like that being on PlayStation until it started selling.
True.
That would be my point. I think sometimes we get a little or
like none of this stink would happen. None of this stink would have happened if they didn't sell well. The only reason people are bringing up like huge stink about it is because Persona 5 is the highest grossing, one of the highest grossing JRPGs of all time. The only reason people are making a stink about the whole Final Fantasy thing is because there's so much nostalgia about Final Fantasy 7. And that obviously originated on the PlayStation. In fact, Sony, and this is one of the few times where it's the fucking truth, Sony allured Square away from Nintendo saying, look at our sexy new hardware. You could fit a bigger game on this.
But I would say that's kind of natural, though, like when it comes to like Persona 5. Like if you hear about a game being good, and then you're like, oh, I heard this game is good, I want to buy it. Then you go and see it's not on your platform. You start being like, oh, I want this game.
But for me, Persona 5 being the best selling still doesn't put Persona in the top 10 best-selling JRPG series of all time. It's just 5 that's carrying the whole weight of the industry on his back.
I agree, but like I would agree with that if it wasn't also for the recent success of Shin Megami Tensei 5.
But see, they're counted separately. We understand them to be part of the same universe, but Shin Megami is actually higher than Persona. Super Mario, the Mario RPG series is higher than Persona.
But yeah, Shin Megami is the originator of Persona.
Did it sell more than Persona? I don't know.
I don't know if 5 did, but I'm talking about the series as a whole.
Actually, hold on. I gotta list it. Yes, it has. Shin Megami has actually sold more than. Let me see. So the actual numbers for Megami Tensei, which has been going since 1987. Fuck me, this series is old.
It's as old as us.
Has sold as of 2022. 23.5 million, which here's the thing. The Megami again. This kind of makes my point. The Megami series outsells Super Robot Wars, the Dragon Ball RPGs, Mario RPG, Yokai Watch, Momotaro, Saga, the Drakengard games, Fire Emblem, Neo, Legend of Heroes, Chrono, Star Ocean, Xenoblade Chronicles, Monster Rancher, the Mega Man Battle System, Parasite Eve, Valkyrie Chronicles, all of those I just list, the Megami series has outsold. And Persona, hold on, Persona, which has been going since 1996, has sold, as of 2021, 15 million copies. So it's less than, it's actually less than, again, this is in, I should stress this is in total, and this is including spin-offs like Arena, Strikers, and stuff like that. 15 million copies, which and like that puts it less than a million under the Megami series. It puts it under 10 million less than the Megami series. Yeah, but if you really want to be goddamn pedantic, if you really want to be fucking anal, as in the know that we are, that it's combined, the Megami series actually, I believe, actually outsells the Soul series.
Yeah, it'll put them somewhere right about Kingdom Hearts.
It will. Yeah, it'll put them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place overall in the highest selling JRPG franchises of all time.
And if you have a second, I just wanted to share this, share my screen with this article, because since we were talking about Destiny, when it launched, it actually increased PlayStation 4 sales by triple in the US.
I wouldn't doubt.
The mind share.
Yeah, like I think because I'll be completely honest, I bought a PS4 because of Destiny.
Then you sat.
Yeah, I'm saying a lot of people bought PlayStation 4s because of Destiny. And
okay, but
this article.
Here's my problem with that. Are they saying it tripled the sales, like it had already sold this much and it tripled that number, or are they saying like it was selling this many at that time, and then the number that they were selling at the time, like they were selling like a million units a day, So, yeah, 1 million units a day, and when Destiny came out, it went up to 3 million a day. Or
it
what?
tripled the sales from what they did the month prior.
Okay, now how long did that? So how many?
I mean, I can't say how long it went on. I can only do it from the time that the article was written.
And then what I'm saying is how many were they? Because then you got to deep dive, and then now you've got to tell me, because you have the burden of proof now. How many were they selling at the time that number tripled? It doesn't
matter. It tripled. It had an.
I think it's month to month. Yeah, like month over month.
Yeah, and then you got right here that it increased. Like Sony had historic sales on their store that same month. They had the most sales ever due to Destiny. They attributed it to Destiny.
Oh no, they can attribute it to Destiny, but again, that's on the store. That's in an existing fan base. It's
not an existing fan base when you combine the fact that the console sales tripled and the store, like, there's a correlation to both. The same month that the console sales tripled,
but again,
they had a historic month in digital store sales as well.
Okay,
so they both correlate.
That's all cool, but now I need to know what the existing user base was, because that incorporates that's great, fantastic, but now I need to know how many of the units were sold prior, how many people who already owned a PlayStation. What's the percentage of people who already own a PlayStation?
The impact is already noted. We have documentation of the impact. If you want to look more into specific numbers, feel free.
But that's what the crux of this argument is you need to look at the specific numbers. Like, that's your job.
Not necessarily. We have the impact that the game had. The game caused sales to triple for them. We have that it led to Sony having a historic month in digital store sales as well. So it had an impact on both physical and digital sales. Yeah, the game had an impact.
The game had an impact, but how much? But my point, and this is the point you were trying to argue, and I'm just trying to make my point known that you're clearly just either missing by ignorance or just completely ignoring, is you turned around and mentioned it sold consoles. Okay, that's great. You're bringing up it had massive store sales. That's great. How many of those were from consoles that Destiny sold versus the existing player base that already had a PlayStation that ended up buying Destiny after the fact? And how many numbers were Sony selling that it tripled to, and how long did that go on for?
The whole argument was that locking up exclusive content for Destiny increased sales for PlayStation, and I gave you that evidence. The whole argument was that them locking up that content.
Actually, that wasn't my argument. That was Omar's argument. I was just
that was the argument that I presented. I'm the one who brought up Destiny, so I'm the one that presented the argument.
How much did it? And my answer was how many consoles did it sell in reality? Like, those are buzzwords. Like, it tripled sales. Okay, but it tripled it from what? Did it triple?
We can do
most likely
PlayStation
it's
September.
month over month. Yeah, it's monthly.
And they already said it tripled from the prior month. They already established what the time frame was.
Okay, so
that was already established in the article.
Again, I'm not arguing this to be pedantic. I'm willing to take the L, but I'd like to know: did the needle move from selling like 100,000, like 1 million units a month to 3 million? And how long did that go on for?
Oh, let's go with that one. That looks like it actually has like a chart in it.
Is what I'm trying to figure out making sense to anybody, or am I just coming off as an asshole?
Yeah, I mean, you need a baseline. Like, you need to know like what was normal for PlayStation 4 sales when this happened. I can understand why you're asking that.
Because for me, it's different when you say, oh, they were selling 1 million units and it tripled it, so it went to 3 million, than saying that they were selling 500,000 units a month, and then it went to 500,000 units, and then it went up to 1.5 million a month. There is a big disparity in that number.
Well, they sold 550,000 units in September. So I mean, if you divide that by 3, you get your number how much is sold in.
And that was in North America, only in North America, and then. Yeah, and then you add to how long that might have been going on for, which I doubt. Like, to me, and again, this is maybe me being an asshole, that's not impressive to me. Like, when you say you lose...
Selling 500,000 units in a month is pretty impressive.
When you say, again, but here's the thing, it's not... Hold on, selling 5... Yeah, but that's a number... Sorry. That's triple the number they would have already made regardless. It just happened to be that Destiny increased.
So you're saying they would have sold... You're saying they would have sold 550 million units if they didn't have
now
that.
I know you're just ignoring what I'm saying.
No,
now I know you are. No, what I'm saying is that is triple the number they would have already been making before. I'm not saying that's not cool. I'm saying that doesn't sound like a console seller to me. That doesn't sound like something like the masses are going at. That's not like something like let me think. I'm trying to think of a good that doesn't sound like Halo to me. I can't believe I'm actually making that fucking comparison. But that doesn't sound like Halo to me. That literally sold millions of units.
Yeah. But the argument Pharaoh was making was niche markets, right? He's
talking about locking down exclusives that move consoles.
Well,
but that didn't move consoles in a massive way, like he's trying to say it does. Where I'm saying something like Halo, that's a lockdown that sold millions.
You're saying that Destiny didn't influence sales in October, that whole holiday season.
I'm saying it didn't influence it in the way in the grand scheme that you're trying to make it out like it did. I'm not saying it didn't.
If you had historic sales in your month, it definitely had an impact.
Again, how many of those sales? You keep bringing that back. That's in the digital store. How many? Pharaoh,
it's a correlation when the physical and the digital correlate. Okay. Then you can say they're correlating numbers. One impacted the other.
I'm going to say this very slow for you. How many that bought Destiny on digital already had a PlayStation regardless of Destiny? You can talk about historic sales. That's cool. You can talk about the fact that they tripled the units. That's cool. That's fantastic. But historic sales, you're not giving me a number. You're just saying historic sales. How many people who already owned a PlayStation bought Destiny to help? Were they 60%? Were they 40% of that digital? Were they 10%? 20%? 60%? Were they fucking 80% of the sales?
I'm sure a massive amount of people who already owned the console bought the game.
That's my point.
But the whole point was that it brought new people to the platform.
Not that many.
They wouldn't have had otherwise.
Not as many as you're trying to say that locking down makes a big difference.
550,000 is a lot.
But they would have got those anyway. I'm not saying
that's an assumption. That's not a fact.
You think it would have sold the same without that game being exclusive at all, or any marketing rights? You think it suddenly would have, what game would have made a spike like that?
Those type of spikes don't just happen for no reason.
In September?
September's not a big sales month.
And I'm not saying that spike would have come out of nowhere without Destiny. I'm saying that over time they would have made up the numbers that Destiny made up over time.
That's an assumption, but all we can do is go with the fact that Destiny had this impact.
Which is fine. However, I think we need to make it clear this is more of a thought experiment than truth, because Destiny, it wasn't a PlayStation exclusive. What Destiny
had exclusive content.
Right, but that exclusive content didn't really come out until a little bit later.
But it was the mind share.
It was advertised. It was advertised from the jump that they had exclusive content.
Yeah, but again, it's how Bungie's working. Don't know what that is. And I'm telling you, as a person who I know what the exclusive content was. It certainly probably kept people to the PlayStation side.
Hold on.
But it's not in the same thing based on...
Yeah, I mean, I believe.
I'm not arguing that.
What I mean by it just feels like Destiny's kind of it's a flimsy leg to stand on, just because I feel like there are better examples to make your point.
I wasn't making a point to stand on Destiny. I brought up that Destiny sold well.
No,
and then
you
it had
said
an
no. You
impact.
said it
And
locked
then-
down that it caused that it caused significant console sales. It moved consoles. Again,
Yes, it did.
It caused some sales, but not significant. And again, I'd also like to point out, I bought into that, and I was an existing console. I was an existing owner of it. And again, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that needs to be added as well. Here's two things that needs to be added as well. One, how much of those sales actually went towards went from obviously Microsoft's major fumbling around the time. Because if I'm gonna say this now, a thought experiment again. If Microsoft had a stronger showing with their console, those sales wouldn't have gone up to that.
I don't think that's a fair
So if you're gonna tell me that one game that attributed to sales, the 550,000 sales attributes to 0.5%. One game increasing your total sales of your lifetime sales by 0.5% is a lot. For one game to do that, out of the thousands of games that released that in an entire generation, one game attributed to 0.5% increase. That's a lot.
I think it speaks to PlayStation
Like
buying advertising rights for this. I think it's important.
Yeah, that's advertising rights.
Like in business, if you grow 0.5%, like of lifetime sales,
but that's
a lot.
But Kofi brought up a point. I do see a stark difference between like the exclusive content and the exclusive advertising rights. Because if Sony was pushing this because they bought the advertising rights, it wouldn't have been the content that sold it. It would have been the advertisement rights.
I believe that. I believe some like ignorant gamers didn't even know if Destiny was on Xbox or not. They just see the advertisement on PlayStation, like, oh well, guess it's time to buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, and I will concede. I will concede right there that I'm sure that definitely helped with sales because they had the advertising rights. It wasn't the content like because again at that point even Zero said the content was vaporware. We didn't even know what the exclusive content was. It could have been a DLC. It could have been an expansion. It could have been a gesture. No, you got some fucking guns. That's it. Well done.
Well, there were some it was timed, and I know specifically like the Monte Carlo, which at the time the weapons do matter from a Destiny perspective. Like people want that new stuff. And so if I can only get
but again, at the time, no one knew it was going to be guns, right?
That was my only thing. Is like just nobody really understood what it was. So like I'm sure it helped, but like in a different way than like I think Destiny 2 has PlayStation 2 exclusive content or 4. So like that is very much we understand what we're getting and what Xbox is being locked out of.
Yeah, and like it's what I'm trying to say is I'm sure the advertising rights, which are a different beast in their entirety than just exclusive content, helped more to move those sales than locking down the exclusive content.
Yeah, I agree with this. I can agree with that.
Say they work part and parcel.
But like I said,
I would say they work together because like we can go to like a game like Scarlet Nexus. I'm pretty sure it sold more on PlayStation 4, even on PlayStation 5 too.
I'd agree with you.
Even though Xbox had the marketing rights.
Believe it or not, I would agree with you if people knew what the exclusive content was. Because I actually like to give people more credit than they're just fucking idiots.
Like, it's not dumb, but it.
I mean, if I know that I'm getting exclusive content here versus there, and I don't have a next generation console yet,
and again, you gotta remember. The hype around Destiny was massive.
Oh, there was hype.
It wasn't just like people bought blindly into this purely off of like if I know I'm getting the best stuff here,
no.
Get on
okay, then clearly here in the UK we're completely different. We didn't care about the content. Like the thing that sold this game for everybody was that right there, that name. That's what fucking sold it here in the UK. The hype I heard here was not about DLC or anything like that, because I heard Xbox guys and PlayStation guys saying the same thing. We didn't care about the exclusive content. We just cared that Bungie, the guys behind the best Halo games, were making a brand new game all on their own. Yeah. It's like, oh my god, that's fucking amazing. Hence why I'm stood here, a fucking idiot with buyer's remorse, with the fucking limited edition.
Yeah.
Like that's where the hype came from. Like, it wasn't exclusive content in my opinion. It was just everybody. It was just. But anyway, go on.
Are we gonna shit on Tencent or no?
We'll shit on Tencent in 2 seconds. Has anybody? Okay, we veered off dramatically talking into from the acquisition because I didn't even get into the what the lawyers said about this. God damn it. It's
just don't be surprised if it goes through.
I'm not going to be surprised if it goes through, but I also think people shouldn't be surprised if there are massive caveats. Here's the thing: I expect it to go through. I've turned around and stated this. I expect it to go through, but I've also turned around and said, don't expect this deal to be everything is 1-to-1 going to Microsoft. I feel like some concessions will be made to ensure that the deal goes through. That's all I'm saying.
If it doesn't, is it your opinion then that the...
Can we move fast and talk about Tencent now?
Give me a second.
We don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, thank God we don't have FC because we got unlimited time. Because it's not like I'm gonna.
Okay.
But no, like if it got his thing, I don't care either or because I'm PlayStation, I'm PC. That's me. Okay. My only fear is eventually a monopoly because everybody should fear a monopoly. Like I don't care. Like you say whatever you want. I'm talking like a legit monopoly. Okay. I don't need people turning around saying, "Oh, Microsoft's not a monopoly." I don't need people saying that. My fear is it eventually becoming one. I'm not saying it is now. I'm not saying the acquisition of Activision makes it that or not. All I know is that with this acquisition, Microsoft jumped right into 3rd place in market shares in revenue. They jumped right over Nintendo, so they're in 3rd place. Because Microsoft went from making 11.6 billion to now making, we take these numbers by estimates. If projections continue, they go from making 11.6 billion to 19.7 billion, which puts them. That puts them in 2nd place, right underneath Sony. It jumps them right over Tencent as well. And most of Tencent, which people need to remember, a lot of what they own in the gaming industry is investments, is small stock shares. They don't own a lot of companies outright, and most of their main industry is the social media mobile game market, not the console market.
So it's just console monopolies are what people are worried about.
That's one thing I'm worried about eventually happening. I'm not saying the Activision thing again. I'm not talking about this Activision thing ensuring a monopoly. I'm worried about there eventually being a monopoly.
But the thing is that no government is going to stop it because there's a monopoly on console gaming, even though they're far from ever being a monopoly on console gaming. Like it would just fall under gaming in general. So that would factor in VR, AR. It would factor in PC, everything. So it's just no way that they would be considered a monopoly to where governments would stop them. That deal is going to go through. It's going to go through with no. The only hiccup they have is the shareholders denying the deal. Like that deal is going to go through. Most of their studios are based in the U.S. It's not gonna really have any issues.
Nobody else got anything to say? No closing arguments.
Clearly, for this one acquisition, both UK and USA are changing the law. So.
Yeah, that's something we didn't get to go into, is the fact that FTC is reviewing and strengthening their antitrust laws. But I mean, here's the thing. I think it's been.
They desire to, just like Xbox desires to. It still has to pass Congress and all that other stuff. So I mean, that even those laws aren't even guaranteed to pass.
Yeah, I mean, this deal still has to go. This deal again has to go through all of them as well. That's why it's not. That's why it's not going to be finalized until next year. Which is why I said that anything can happen. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing else. Okay. All right. Well. Okay. So as everybody doesn't know, because we have a diverse cast here. I would say Jubei. Can I? I'd ask for a show of hands, but everybody's got no. I'm the only one with a camera on. How many African Americans do we have here in this hall?
1, 2, 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah, 4.
Just so you know, Tencent doesn't like black people.
So it looks like I missed a lot.
We're Chinese. They're not the first.
I mean, they
There's
are
plenty of
Chinese
people that don't
like Chinese aren't necessarily.
Sorry,
fan of
Kofi's fucking
functions.
deadpan response broke me then. Fuck.
Yeah, it made me laugh too.
God damn it.
I've got a good friend in China. He seems to be doing all right.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But in general, like the consensus among Chinese people, the masses,
It's not just consensus.
Darker skin is frowned upon.
Right, let me play this episode because this is an I would say allegedly. This is why that's why it's in the title. Allegedly, so I'm exempt for suing. Tencent doesn't like black people. Allegedly, Alana Pierce recently said on a podcast, which I have the excerpt for, which I will play for the stream. You guys are gonna have to see this through there right now because I can't because I can't play it. But let's hear what she had to say. I believe this should be the excerpt. It was. My apologies. I thought that was up. Let us fucking try that again. Let's try that again because I suck at this. Apparently, I fucking suck at this. Hey Omar, do me a favor. When you're moving around, do you mind just muting yourself, man? Let's try that. Let's try that again. Sorry.
And owning the industry. They also have like a bunch of problematic shit. I have a friend who had a film that was offered to be made by Tencent or funded by Tencent, and they were like, no black people, bigger tits.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like a lot of like rules that they have that
okay.
Yeah, that I think also has had a hand in some AAA games. Again, I don't want to speak on any of this because I'm so worried about getting sued by Tencent, but this is what I've heard, rumors, not sure if any of this is true. But like even games that are out where they were like, yeah, that character needs to have bigger tits, or you need to make her skin lighter type shit.
Wow.
That, again, I know that more of the film industry, and that's outside of content that's like, no ghosts. They have just like weird rules like that, but I think we should be way more concerned about Tencent than we should be about Microsoft. And then even then, the second biggest company in terms of revenue, I believe, is Lee and owning the industry. They also.
So yeah, I mean the film industry thing we've known about for years. Fucking Hollywood literally sucking the dick of the Chinese government and following their censorship rules. One of the best examples I can think of was the redesign of Taskmaster from the Black Widow movie, because they've got a no skull policy over there in the Orient of no skulls. So they redesigned Taskmaster to not have a skull mask. There was also the Rainbow Six, because I know Omar actually brought this up about censorship a while ago on the podcast when he brought up and I could have sworn someone here turned around and said it's not that big of a deal, but clearly, it's turned out that it is a big deal. Them redesigning a tapestry on a wall in Rainbow Six Siege because of Japanese censorship, which they reverted back to. But yeah, Tencent says no black people and bigger tits. So Kofi, being the moderate here, I would love your thoughts on that, because again, as the title says, Tencent doesn't like black people, allegedly.
Yeah, Lord have mercy. I will say that Alana Pierce has done a lot of goodwill for the gaming community. I've seen she was in a podcast with who's the guy who was all about NFTs? She actually hosted him in a podcast and woman-splained to him why NFTs wouldn't be a good idea. So I'm going to give her some credit, and I'll buy.
Wait, she thinks NFTs are a good idea?
No.
Oh.
Who was the? I don't know if you knew who was the actor?
Troy Baker,
right? Troy Baker was like pro NFT.
Oh, Troy,
but she had him on her podcast and talked about why it was a bad idea to his face or on a camera.
Yeah,
Good.
they are friends. They also have podcasts themselves.
Yeah, so I'm giving her credit for being somebody who's very adept.
No.
And she's on the God of War team, right? Or which team is she on?
Don't know.
Yeah, she is on the God of War team.
Yeah, she's on the God of War team.
The writing team.
Oh, let's just hope she keeps
okay.
that head on her shoulders and doesn't lose herself in anything I might find because I'm liking her more and more. But please, Kofi, continue.
Exactly. And that was why I brought this up, because she seems to be very in touch with reality and things that gamers like. So I'm going to buy this and say that I really have already been afraid of Tencent. I think the only, just to give some background, the only thing that I think I've been affected by as a gamer from Tencent is when they bought, I believe they own SNK, or they own King of Fighters in some way, because I've seen weird Chinese versions of SNK games.
Hold on, let me look into it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, definitely confirmed for me. But this is just mind-blowing, because I hadn't heard anything about this. It obviously makes sense. I've seen the lightening of skin. It reminds me of when, this is not game, but when Black Panther was originally came out in China. Did not review well. There was rumors that people were just walking into the theater. They honestly thought that some of the scenes being at night with black people was weird for them. That type of response, it just bleeds through to me. Unfortunately, now that the more I think about it, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because unfortunately their culture is so big, capitalism bends to it. And so, our ideals in the West are just to make money. So if it's to make Chinese consumers happy, we're going to do that. Potentially, right? Or other organizations that end up getting acquired by Tencent will follow that philosophy. Really quick, something I would hate. Falcom is one of my favorite RPG developers, right? I talk the praises about them. One thing I love about the series is they have multiple interracial relationships. Or people with very dark skin dating people with light skin, or dark skinned people being married to each other. And I don't see that much in RPGs, right? All the way back from Xenogears and stuff like that. You don't see many interracial couples. I could just imagine my rage if they got bought up by Tencent and then to completely change the landscape of what Falcom has done so well in. So things like that just make me feel disgusting on the inside.
Yeah, I'm fucking certain Omar brought this up, about Rainbow Six Siege.
No, I heard you say it. No, I don't think I ever brought up Tencent.
No, it wasn't Tencent. No, I'm talking about the Rainbow Six Siege thing. It was either you or maybe it was myself.
No, I'm not me. I remember when I talk about stuff, but this is not it.
Maybe it was me. But I brought this up and I was like, this could be an idea of censorship. And the more and more we get deeper into the years going forward, the more and more it seems like censorship is actually becoming an issue, especially when it comes to exclusivity censorship.
Censorship is not becoming an issue in In gaming, in anime,
No, we're talking about gaming. We're talking about gaming because here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you talk censorship, you need to be very specific because it's such a broad term. But when Tencent turns around and says no black people, that is censorship.
Yeah,
that is censorship due to ideology or whatever. That is censorship. Like you are censoring someone because they want to put someone in that you do not agree with. Which is why I don't support, which is why I've always been against which is why when we brought up, was it Black Myth? When I said I can't support that because it's adhering to the censorship rules of the Chinese government, which Tencent do. And then you got Tencent saying shit like this, which is aligned with the Chinese government censorship. Am I wrong? I'm only
No, I wouldn't say you're wrong.
And I'd just like to point this out, just so everybody's aware. I'm not saying boycott. No, I wouldn't say boycott. But let's look at what Tencent owned. When did this come out? This came out in August 9th, 2020. So this is outdated by 2 years. August 9th. So they own 100% of Riot Games. They own 40% of Epic Games. This was a big one. They own 11.5% of Bluehole. They own 5% of Ubisoft. They own 5% of Activision Blizzard. That's one I didn't know about. So that makes me wonder. They own 80% of Grinding Gear Games, the guys behind Path of Exile. And other investments they own 84.3% of Supercell. They own an undisclosed investment in Platinum Games, an undisclosed investment in Jaeger, 9% in Frontier Developments, 13.9% of Kako, whatever the hell that is, 5% in Paradox Interactive, 36% in Fat Shark, 29% in Funcom, 100% of Shark Mob, and they did an investment in Discord. So, yes, those are all the investments. Just so everybody is aware, those are all the investments and studios that Tencent owns. Now, obviously, those lower percentages mean they most likely have less of a say than we think they do. That should be, because I don't think they're affecting games in Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft's already fucking up their games as it is anyway. But I don't think Tencent's 5% gives them a lot of sway over Ubisoft games. Same with Activision Blizzard, but that might give them sway in other areas. It's the ones that they own over 50% in you should be worried about. That's what I'm saying. So please, Kofi, continue.
Oh shoot, I don't even know what I was talking about.
You were concerned because by the way, it doesn't look like King of Fighters.
What? Yeah, exactly. You say again about King of Fighters? They do own it, right?
No, they don't. It doesn't look like
they don't. They don't? Oh, okay, there's some other Chinese company that owns it, but okay. Yeah, I just don't like. Imagine, I think Alana Pierce may be alleging to this. Imagine Tencent buying something else that's big or super influential to our industry, and then changing it so that they can, I don't know, make it more marketable to their market, which is already being limited, right? Because kids can't game now for like, I don't know, certain periods of the day.
They can only, they can. I think it's only. Let me look that up. Please continue.
No, I mean, I'll let somebody else go. It's just definitely. I mean, she's right. I definitely am more concerned about anything they do over Xbox by miles. So let's hope that, I don't know, that they stay where they're at.
Okay.
I wish they would give up Epic or something.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they own 40% of Epic, meaning I don't think they own they don't own a control. Actually, to be fair, I don't know how much. I don't know. But yeah, as far as the gaming Chinese law, as of August 30th, China introduced new restrictions that limit the time under 18s can spend gaming online. The restrictions now allow younger gamers to only play on public holidays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Oof.
Yeah, apparently they have a lot of gaming addiction
It's not an addiction. It's called gaming compulsion, and it's not that goddamn serious if you're a good goddamn fucking parent. Omar, seeing as you've started, please give us your thoughts.
No. I'm literally talking about what's called. One person died in a gaming what's called
a gaming cafe. No,
yeah,
that is. First of all, he's not the only one. Because years and years ago, there was a big stink that somebody died playing an arcade game years and years ago in America. I think it was back in the fucking 80s. And he didn't die because he was playing the game for so long. He died. No, it wasn't the creator. He was an arcade player. He died due to a fucking seizure.
No, but this one literally spent more than 24 something hours playing the game. Like it was a bit more, but I'm pretty sure it's also meant to be for censorship. That's for sure a case. Other than that, yeah, it's messed up. But if you know who your target audience is, then you're gonna do that.
No, this has got nothing to do with that.
They don't care about the target audience. They care about showing the target audience, the world as they see it.
Yeah, no, this is nothing to do with target audience. This is all about pushing their narrative, their ideology onto other people through video games.
No, this is not about video games, though. This is a movie that they're making.
No,
but the thing is, she's speaking about the video game, but what he's saying is that this isn't only taking place in this one instance of a video game. They're saying this to someone who they're trying to drum up business with. Then they're definitely already saying it to people that they already have things that they already have controlling stakes of.
Yeah. This was somebody. She's if you actually listen to it, she said a friend of mine wanted to do a movie, and Tencent said no black people, bigger breasts. And she even said that she doesn't want to get sued by Tencent, but she's heard rumors that this is happening in their video. This is happening with studios that they already own.
No, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, that's why you need to listen. But yeah, Pharaoh, please give us your thoughts then.
I just I think that this is something that in some form or fashion is a common practice in media. Not necessarily against black people, all against black people, but it could be against races, cultures, religions, ideologies. I just think this is something that we see and that is rarely actually brought to light in the public. But it's definitely something that is unfortunate, and I think that the only way you can really combat it is not participating and when it's taking place. And we need more studios that are owned and funded by black people, and people of different races and colors and genders and all that stuff. But it's difficult to say, hey, black guy, start a studio. Like, you gotta actually work in the industry and kind of have that desire in mind to run and operate your own business. Not just about games at that point. So. Okay,
but then here's my problem. Here's my problem with that. Like that's cool and all, but what if this hypothetical black team ends up getting investment by Tencent and then tells them no, you can't have any black people in your games?
Well, that's on them for selling their soul to the devil.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, this is something that's already happening. Like, this is something that's already happening, and they clearly have investment in multiple goddamn studios.
Yeah,
and possibly.
But as a small developer, and there's an opportunity to get purchased. I mean, if it's beneficial to you, then yeah, you make that deal. But sometimes, you gotta roll your sleeves up and build yourself up the hard way, a game at a time. Everyone can't be an overnight success. Everyone can't be purchased. For those who do decide to sell themselves, that's kind of on them, and they're victim to whatever. After that, they decide to stay with their company that they sold.
All right, fair enough. Zero, your thoughts?
I don't know. A little funny. No black people in bigger tits just feels like a Tuesday here in America. So I'm not terribly surprised at the perspective of folks like that. Anecdotally, I have a friend who lived in China for at least the past 6 years. And while it gets along fine, like there is certainly a skin color that gets you way further than another one. And the darker you are, the less you are favorably you're looked upon. But once again, like not terribly surprising for like globally as a whole. Like I don't know, maybe I'm just jaded or biased or just broken. But like that doesn't at all shock me. What's sad and unfortunate, and hopefully the sort of we have to lean into the devil that you know versus the one that you don't. America has its own sort of issues with the East. And so while Tencent might be doing its best to make strides over here, your Microsofts and such probably are going to do the best they can to keep them just as far out as possibly that they can. Which doesn't mean they still won't have a huge influence on certain things. Like they own all of Riot Games, right?
Yes.
So like that mandate could come down to Riot Games, who has a ton of characters in their league, right? Aren't they League?
Yes, they're League of Legends.
Yeah. So like that mandate is they get rid of all black characters or dark skinned characters. They don't necessarily have to be black.
You can lighten them up. You can lighten up the dark skinned characters, and you can like
lighten them all up.
There's little things you can do.
And so that is particularly worrisome. Sad. Again, not surprising, but sad and worrisome. The scary part is, and Kofi alluded to it, or no, outright said it. They have a large enough population to bend capitalism, which, at least over here, isn't something that can really be done. You exist within it, and like you participate in it, and you try to achieve based off of it. But Americans don't tend to try to bend capitalism to their will. We just participate in the system.
I mean, they've already done that.
Yeah,
look at Hollywood.
I mean, we certainly manipulate it, but like I think there's a different in what at least how China is approaching this. Because
conform to our ways, or show in our country.
Because we'll do it this way: China is capitalism is courting China. Like the concept of it is courting an entire country, where it always should be the opposite way. The country should be courting the idea, but this idea is trying to court an entire country.
Again, Hollywood's already done
bring
it.
Up to Zero. When it comes to Asian art in general, because we all consume a lot of Asian art. We watch anime and stuff like that. They don't even put themselves in their own art. The anime characters don't look Asian. And they release all these blockbuster video games. Most of the main characters don't look Asian.
Okay,
they don't even.
In my opinion, that is a big and I'm sure Kofi will actually be able to back me up on this. But let me make sure he's here first. Kofi, have they pulled out support yet? Okay, cool. That is because typically, from what I've noticed, Japanese culture is a lot more open to that kind of inclusivity of other races a lot more, at least modern Japan, than China
Modern
is.
For sure.
Than China is at all.
Oh yeah, especially from a governmental perspective.
Yeah, because the last time I heard about this, like Chinese Japanese anti-sentiment in China was at like 70% of Chinese people view Japan influence negatively.
But all right, so my question is, of the amount of Chinese games and art that we do see, how many of them have Chinese leads?
A lot.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about like in the movies scene, of course, because in the movie scene you're gonna hire who's in your area. But like, you know, when you're like making like a video game,
hold on.
Like I can't think of many games where I've seen an Asian lead.
Well, that's because the Chinese market in video games hasn't there hasn't been one. Like that,
we don't have one.
Yeah, but even like a Tencent game, like Tencent has 100% ownership of a studio, and I can't think of a game that they've released that has.
Because that's right. Games. The only game they've ever fucking released was League of Legends.
But, and they still have a Chinese lead.
I thought even that Riot existed before them.
Yeah, they did. They did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, Tencent's more operating in the sense, I mean, different, but in the sense of Microsoft, they're not particularly making anything. They're just buying.
Yeah, just like they can say they don't want a black character in there, they can easily say I want a Chinese character to be the lead.
Which is true. Which is what a lot of these. Here's the thing. Which is what a lot of these Chinese games that I'll need to look into it. That I'm sure Tencent actually does have some hands in are doing that are coming out of China. Because again,
like the only game I can think of is Myth of Wukong, where I've seen like the character actually look, you know, like it.
It's Chinese,
yeah.
Which to be fair, he really should.
That's the only game I can think of. Like literally, like out of and I've seen a million games. I can't think of many games where I've seen a main character that looks like they're of.
Okay, now what I'm trying,
descent.
and what I'm trying to tell you, Farrell, is China's major influence in the video game market hasn't been felt. Has only been felt for the last couple of years. Especially with Tencent buying up shares in a lot of these studios, and China hasn't released any games outside of China itself until the last couple of years, where yes, they have had Chinese leads. Black Myth being one of the ones we're talking about.
Is that a Tencent game though?
It's a Chinese game, which is the whole point with what you're trying to which is the whole
I'm trying to
point.
I'm just bringing up art in Asia in general.
Yes, and China is known for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to remember China's not a huge fan of video games, period.
Exactly.
So even the games that managed to get out here are kind of one-off things that like might not be part of a trend. Now, their influence in gaming might be coming through Tencent, and in the years to come, it might hit us more. Currently, it doesn't seem as though like that's part and parcel of what they want to do. But as entertainment is getting stronger, and it seems to be despite their best efforts, they can no longer like ignore or shun the gaming market. So if we can't shun it, then now we have to adjust and start trying to control it.
Exactly.
I guess my overall point was that, you know, I can't expect, like, I'm not necessarily expecting like games that come from Eastern studios to include black characters when they don't even include themselves most of the time. Like, it's not like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Japanese games do include black characters.
Yeah, but it's still far and few between. But I'm just saying it's not an expectation. It's just like, oh yeah, you know, Barrett's cool.
But the big difference here, though, Farrell, that I think you're failing to realize is that is by choice. Like, they'll still add them. They'll add them, but it's usually a choice that they don't add. This is a mandate to not add black people.
Yeah, and like I said, I already made that point, but I'm just saying, you know, I made my point on Tencent doing that and how it's unfortunate and like things that we need to do about that. But I'm just saying in general, when it comes towards Eastern art, it's just not an expectation for me in general. And I was explaining why.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see it. They don't even include themselves in the art. It's, you know, like you wouldn't say that the person's, you know, necessarily white or anything like that. I mean, some characters you might say that, but in general, it's just like it's not. They try to keep the race kind of fluid. Like, kind of can look like this race, kind of can look like that race.
I don't know. Like you ask the social. You ask Twitter or anything about the casting of a white dude playing Light Yagami in the Death Note movies. It was horror-fucking-see. It was like the worst thing ever. It's whitewashing.
In the anime, Light doesn't look Asian.
No, Pharaoh, don't you understand? It's whitewashing. It's whitewashing. You can't have a white man playing Light Yagami. How dare you? It's whitewashing, sir. How dare you have a white man play Goku, a fucking an alien? How dare you? He's clearly Asian.
If we want characters to look like the regions that they come from, then they need to draw the characters so that they look like, they came from that region. I'm just saying, I don't if Ghost in the Shell comes out with a movie, I don't expect it to be Scarlett Johansson, but I expect it to look like the character that they drew, and they didn't draw. She don't like an Asian woman. I'm sorry.
Dude,
I think the name gives it away, though. I think if they've got a Japanese name, they definitely are supposed to be Japanese. And plus, I put that down to just the outside, the art style.
Do Japanese people who watch a lot of anime they default to say Naruto as being Japanese?
Kofi, can you field that one?
Good question. I'm not sure. I can find out for you.
Please.
Because I can perfectly understand why he doesn't look, but if they're presenting themselves as a default, or an easier one is all of Miyazaki's work. My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, Ponyo. These are all very, very clearly Japanese works. They take place in Japan. They operate on that space, but they don't quote unquote look Japanese. But if you're presenting this character, is there some sort of complicit understanding that they're just Japanese? I don't have to make them look like that, because that's what else would they be? Because they view themselves.
I personally think they keep they keep the art in a way that you identify it as Japanese, but in order to appeal to mass markets, they make it look like other people in mass markets. I think that's kind of the brilliance of their art.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would be thoroughly intrigued to find out. Some characters are easier than others, and for the life of me, I can't think of anyone's off the top of my head.
Goku's an alien, so no one can argue that he's Asian.
Okay, right, hold on. Tanjiro. I found a thesis on this. So why do anime characters? Why are anime characters white? Anime characters are abstracted illustration of reality. So their looks are idealized. In Japanese, light or white skin is seen as beautiful. So most anime characters are drawn with white skin, but that does not mean that they're not Japanese. In fact, most Japanese people will identify these characters as being Japanese and not being foreign.
That's my thought. They see themselves as default, so they never once question. I don't think there are a bunch of Japanese kids watching Naruto and saying, "Look at this white kid."
Yeah, character. So I'm thinking it's more you looking upon it, thinking that he is white, because of the skin.
Yeah, when people see it in other regions, they think it looks like them too. You know what I'm saying? That's the brilliance. That's the brilliance of their art.
And also, there's a lot less criticism from Japanese fans when an American steps in and plays a role. They're just like, cool movie, or it sucks. But
they don't have our particular hangups.
Yeah, their hangups are other things. I don't know if you guys remember, Japanese Twitter freaked out when Aerith was first revealed in Final Fantasy VII Remake. They hated it. Did you guys see that? They didn't like the formation of her face and her nose. They thought her nose was too big and too long. And I don't know if you guys realize it was changed. It was changed after they reacted from that. But it was something over in America, we're all like, oh my gosh, Aerith looks amazing. But over in Japan, they were pissed. So it's just completely different priorities.
Too many polygons!
They cater to the minority on that one. I'm pretty sure outside regions bought more copies of Final Fantasy than Japan did.
Hey, you don't need to live in Japan. Square Enix does.
You heard about that?
No, I mean
I don't think they're as violent as we are, though.
No,
you gotta worry about the Yakuza.
Wait, oh, you mean in real life, not in video games?
Yeah, I'm talking about real life. Somebody actually stand outside your house and threaten to kill you because you didn't catch a football.
I mean, in Japan, no, you say that but my mind immediately went to a dark place because it's not like that hasn't actually happened in Japan. Crap. My immediate thought is the studio behind Mrs. Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That fucking psychopath fucking blamed them for plagiarizing, and he fucking burned down the damn studio.
Well, plagiarizing is different because you're like stealing my money now. That's a little bit different.
I think it was all alleged though, right?
Only if
alleged.
Yeah. So like, there's a difference there. Like he felt like he was wronged versus actual fandom of like you didn't catch the ball.
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
to be
Some people
fair,
say-
over on Dante's side of the world, like soccer hooligans are pretty dangerous.
Oh yeah,
There's a whole documentary on that stuff.
Soccer hooligans.
Oh yeah, I saw them firsthand after a victory. Yeah, they are quite dangerous.
Oh yeah, you over there in France, right?
Yeah, I was in France when they won the World Cup. Yeah, they are dangerous. Funny, but they're dangerous. Yeah,
dude,
I'm just saying,
motherfuckers legit being stabbed over that bullshit. Yo, by the way, you think we're bad? Hold up. We ain't. I'm sorry. In many regards, we ain't even the worst. You know why? Go to fucking Brazil, because them motherfuckers actually got their hands on firearms. We don't.
No, in Brazil, in South America, they kill each other over like rec games.
Again, you think Europe's worse.
Like there's a video of like a ref getting killed because of the way he officiated a rec game. Like it was like a pickup game and he was the ref.
I get my point. My point right there. You think we're bad? Brazil got it worse because they got firearms. Oh shit!
They, like stabbed him up on the spot, like because he made a bad call. Like,
all right. Anyway, right. Moving on. Jubei.
Yeah, we should probably roll out, guys.
Jubei, you were the only person that didn't give their thoughts. Jubei, quickly give your thoughts on Tencent not liking black people, allegedly.
I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like black people. So, am I surprised? No. Am I upset about it? Yeah. It is what it is. Like, I mean, you gotta think China made Disney take fucking old boy off the Star Wars poster. He was a little too dark to be on the poster. You feel me? But
yeah.
You can bend Disney. Ben, what can't you do?
I'm not the fan. I mean, that's just what it is. They wanted their movie to go over there. Like, I don't agree with it. It's fucked up. But it's like, tell me something I don't know. This is, being black in America and the world in general is like this. So I'm just mostly just not surprised by it. I'm just kind of numb to it. Stunned that they publicly came out and said that, or that's been made.
Well, it publicly leaked. They didn't come out and say it. It leaked.
I mean, that's a bad thing. Like that shit like that is not supposed to leak.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think that the Papa John's nigga that was out here dropping N-bombs and shit, like that wasn't supposed to come out. So, I mean, like I said, it's just I'm just not surprised by shit like that anymore. And
Papa John's dude was funny though. Like,
here we are.
He went and sold the company and then got help and thought they was gonna sell the company back to him. Like, I went to counseling. Y'all can sell it back to me now. Like, nah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he sold his stake in the company, and then he went to go seek help. And then after he got help, he tried to buy his stake back, and they was like, "Nah, we don't need you no more. We got Shakaroni."
That's crazy.
We got.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. But I mean, it's cool. Shit's coming to the surface. Like now, you can kind of see people who are there. I mean, the sad part is like they're like, I don't want no black people on it, but like. Us as a people and certain demographics of our culture, like we fucks with them, you know what I'm saying? Like how many, everybody has like a fucking, every black dude has like a fucking kung fu movie that just fucking like they just love. You feel me? Like it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, we all love Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, and Jet Li. Yeah,
exactly. It just sucks. It doesn't come back the other way. Like fuck.
It doesn't go when it comes to China. It doesn't go It doesn't go the same way anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's just sad.
I do agree with one thing they said. I do agree with one thing Tencent said in that though. Ain't nothing wrong with bigger tits. And with that being said, I think it's time that we do our outro. So, Jubei, seeing as you're on the line, give us your outro. Where can people find you?
Yep, you can find me at Jubei Sensei on stuff. Jubei X Sensei on gaming platforms. I am on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel as Jubei Sensei, and I also I'll share my ID out and shit, so not a problem. But that's probably what I'm gonna be on until I hit Plat 1. Then I'll move on to something else.
Get ready, everybody. We're going to need to intervene at some point. Omar, where can people find you?
People can find me at _job on Twitter and GameSlayer on Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'm moving from Saturday. And other than that, if you have not watched my last show, we had almost, I just checked it, over 700 views. Like, that might be
I
show.
gotta go check it out.
Yeah. That was a great show. I had Sick Humor TV, aka
nice.
Podcast, yeah, and Strictly. And we went in, and it was a great show. Other than that, yeah, great show, everyone.
Cool. Pharaoh, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch at Land of Pharaoh, Twitter, Pharaoh Bazaar, YouTube, Pharaoh Bazaar, Facebook, Pharaoh Bazaar. I'll be around, message me, friend me, request me. I'm in the gaming streets.
Cool. Kofi, where can people find you?
As usual, you can barely find me anywhere. Still scrounging to get through these last quest translations. Me and the biggest trails broadcaster of information are on the hook for finishing some sub-quest translations. His name is what is his name? Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. I'll bring it up next week. We're still working on that. I'm working with everybody involved for a cool promotion that we're going to do for the translation. So I'm really excited. I'm thinking I'm going to use that to get back. I'm sure I lost like 800 followers. I literally haven't even looked. But anyway, see you back there then.
All right. People can find me at Dante Crisis on Instagram, Twitter, and the Dante Crisis on Facebook. You can find me at Dante Crisis on YouTube, Twitch, and DLive. Current Let's Plays right now are Streets of Rage 2 and GTA 4. Future Let's Plays are Time Crisis, Super C, and Devil May Cry 4 and Seek and Destroy. Current streams are Shin Megami Tensei 5, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Chaos Mod, and Kingdom Hearts, where I beat Kurtz at level 48 because clearly I don't know what the fuck under-leveled me. And Zero, where can people find you? But more importantly, where can people find us?
Well, guys, you can find me at 0x386 pretty much everywhere. I, too, like Jubei, will probably be focused mainly on Master Duels.
Wow.
Put up a deck. I'll be ready to play. It is an absolute blast. But of course, you can find us on all major podcasting. Is it fair to say streaming? No, because we don't have Twitch yet. So podcasting platforms. Anywhere you listen to Joe Rogan talk about COVID, we will probably be there. So please support. And of course, even though we're always here, we always go separate right after. So please check out Fridays at 5 now. Apparently, Game Slayer with Omar. Please check out Dante's streams. Join up with Jubei and myself on some Master Duel. Go to Land of Pharaoh for some excellent football streams and Madden. And check out Kofi when he makes his triumphant return, or just support the translations. I'm sure a lot of you out there are Tales fans, so he's doing the work to bring it to you. And of course, always, guys, we appreciate you. You literally could be doing anything else, but you decided to listen to us. So thank you.
Yep, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, please keep it gaming. Alright, we out of here. Peace.
Later.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be outside. I don't wanna be left on the outside. All alone. All alone.
You rockin' with beats discussing the